Even though Kumu Genjun was a true lord, his heart was churning at this moment. He looked at Qi Yuan, wanting to say something. However, Qi Yuan directly left. Kumu Genjun sat down, his hand caressing the purple sandalwood chair, wisps of red dust incense rising. He didn't know what he was thinking about. Outside Shenguang sect, Qi Yuan was once again strolling with his knife. A first-grade foundation establishment spiritual item. Yellow flower fruit. Qi Yuan was actually tempted. The price of foundation establishment spiritual items was steep. However, to get the reward at the Foundation Establishment Conference, you need to defeat disciples from other sects, too troublesome. Just thinking about competing made Qi Yuan feel bored. He'd rather grind in games, where his power genuinely increased. Only, when he went to a shop and asked about the price of a first-grade Foundation Establishment spiritual item, his eyes lit up. What, worth 10,000 spirit stones? And it's priceless. A wealthy clan once offered 50,000 spirit stones and didn't get one. Couldn't even buy a second-grade one. Qi Yuan was somewhat tempted. As the head disciple of Seven Colors Peak, he could only get 10 spirit stones worth of resources every month. However, after offending his master, his spirit stone supply was cut off. He lived frugally every day. Recently, his thatched hut was leaking in the rain, and he was reluctant to spend spirit stones to hire someone for repairs, so he climbed onto the roof and fixed it himself. What kind of cultivation life was this? Moreover, once Qi Yuan reached Foundation Establishment, the amount of spirit stones he would need would be vast. Polishing his mana during the Foundation Establishment stage was extremely costly in terms of spirit stones. Hence, the Foundation Establishment disciples of Shenguang sect often went out to take on tasks to earn spirit stones. Maybe I should give it a try. Forget it, too troublesome. If some bad guy wins it, then I could take the moral high ground and snatch it. Qi Yuan was daydreaming, but it was just daydreaming. Such a high-grade Foundation Establishment item would definitely be guarded by powerful people. With his current weak strength, how could he possibly snatch it? Wandering around aimlessly all day, Qi Yuan felt like he was missing a ghost fire and a teenage girl telling her father, "Dad, you just don't understand him." When he returned to Seven Colors Peak, Qi Yuan smelled a rich aroma. Spiritual carp fish, fragrant mushrooms, North Treasure melon. Qi Yuan's nose was very keen. These aromas made his mouth water. "Junior sister, this pot of yours must have cost a lot, right?" Qi Yuan remembered that in the half-year since he arrived in this world, he had only eaten a spiritual dish once, and it was worth less than 1 spirit stone. "Not too bad, just a few dozen spirit stones," Zhang Lingsu said lightly. She clapped her hands. "In a little while, I will be establishing my foundation, so I need to eat well and nourish my body." Of course, Zhang Lingsu had other considerations. She wanted to show a bit of wealth to see if she could attract the attention of the cold and beautiful fairy on Seven Colors Peak. After all, in the upcoming dark turmoil, the one who could resist might be that fairy on Seven Colors Peak. Qi Yuan was stunned upon hearing this. "Where did you get so many spirit stones?" Zhang Lingsu smiled sweetly. "Lucky birth. Wealthy fool." Qi Yuan gritted his teeth. "Sour grapes, your spiritual food lacks seasoning, might taste a bit off." These spiritual materials were beyond his means, he couldn't even afford one of the mushrooms inside. "Senior brother, last time you made chicken soup for me, this time I'll treat you to spiritual food soup," Zhang Lingsu said. Qi Yuan instantly changed his expression. "Delicious, with such good ingredients, it must be delicious." He also took the opportunity to advertise Zhang Lingsu's spiritual food. Zhang Lingsu. Indeed, those of the obsessed lineage all had a bit of a problem in the head. She served Qi Yuan a full bowl of spiritual food. She also served herself a bowl. Qi Yuan took a bite, and his mouth was filled with flavor, his saliva flowing. "Truly a delicacy of the human world," Qi Yuan commented. This was far better than the Hextech takeout he had bought in his previous life. Moreover, just one bite made him feel his mana increase slightly. This was no less than the increase in cultivation he got from killing a level 70 great demon in the game, the feedback of which reached his real body. He suddenly felt that grinding in games wasn't as enjoyable, it was better to eat spiritual food. And it tasted so much better, better than Hextech, better than pre-made meals. However, at this moment, Zhang Lingsu frowned. Unfortunately, the grade of spiritual materials is too low, the taste is a bit lacking. Qi Yuan immediately felt that the spiritual food in his bowl wasn't as tasty anymore. Not tasty, but he didn't hold back when eating. Time to grind in the game. Seeing that it was late, Qi Yuan entered the game again. As usual, Qi Yuan crawled out of the pit. After a good meal, time to grind in the game. He wielded a large sword, sneaking through the forest. Tonight's Yiguan forest was no different from usual. It seemed that last night's damage to the Yiguan monsters hadn't taught them a lesson. Soon, Qi Yuan arrived at the place where the Yiguan monsters hanged themselves. Shao Shang's sword rain, armored champion's strong fist. Qi Yuan began his slaughter again. The Yiguan monsters were killed one by one. Other Yiguan monsters woke up in the trees. They had no faces, no eyes, no ears, not even mouths. But Qi Yuan could feel their anger. If they were given mouths, Qi Yuan was sure he would hear a series of beautiful curses. Your asterisk 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 asterisk. Of course, these Yiguan monsters couldn't talk, couldn't curse Qi Yuan, they could only attack Qi Yuan, venting their anger. Unfortunately, they all became Qi Yuan's experienced babies. Qi Yuan weaved in and out, comparable to Zhao Yun and Wen Yang. After a few hours, seeing the Yiguan monsters regroup, Qi Yuan left without a trace. Afterwards, Qi Yuan dug a pit and buried himself. He was reflecting, the Yiguan monsters are regrouping faster. It seems they are also growing. But I am also growing, another level up, but it will get slower from now on. After summarizing, Qi Yuan opened the chat interface. As usual, he replied to a series of messages from Jin Li. Jin Li's messages were fragmented, mentioning things like floods in a region from the memorials, which made her worried, or that her horse suddenly went crazy today, and she almost got hurt. Qi Yuan slowly replied, then shared his daily routine in the game with Jin Li. In a short while, he sent a series of messages. Getting late, time to log off. Qi Yuan felt he had spent enough time in the game. At this moment, to his surprise, Jin Li sent a message. Still up so late? Qi Yuan wanted to look up at the moon, but couldn't see it from the pit. Had a lot to do today. Jin Li said, feeling a sense of peace in her tired heart. Today I met Aunt Qin. With the imperial medicine picked from Zhan Yuan Forbidden Land, her injuries have healed significantly. Jin Li slowly recounted the day's events. She didn't like spreading negative energy, so she tried to speak in a calm tone. Your mission difficulty is quite high. Qi Yuan thought that if he were in Jin Li's position, he might not do as well as her. After all, court politics were all about human relationships, and he only knew how to fight and kill. Enhance your reading experience by removing ads for as low as $1. Remove ads from $1. Tell me, is there any way in this world to quickly increase one's strength? Jin Li couldn't help but ask. Quickly get stronger. Several answers instantly came to Qi Yuan's mind. Eat a devil fruit, receive a master's direct transmission of power. Or, do push-ups. In this world, there were no devil fruits, and no one who could directly transmit power. Doing push-ups can make you stronger, Qi Yuan enthusiastically said. I know someone, very ordinary, nothing special, but he insisted on exercising every day of push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups. As a result, it didn't take long for him to become stronger, though he did go bald. Exercise, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, what are those? Jin Li looked puzzled. Are these supreme cultivation techniques? Seeing this, Qi Yuan was a bit surprised. So, you're a girl who doesn't like exercising. Let me teach you how to exercise. Isn't that improper? Jin Li thought Qi Yuan was about to teach her some supreme cultivation techniques. Don't worry, it's common stuff, very simple. Qi Yuan pondered for a moment, then spent about 10 minutes teaching these exercises to Jin Li. These can increase one's strength. Jin Li found it unbelievable. Because these movements were ordinary, not mystical at all. But considering that carrying a ladder could get one into the Zhan Yuan Forbidden Land, she thought it might be true. Well, actually, they can't. Maybe after 10 years of practice, you could beat a wolf. Qi Yuan said. Jin Li was momentarily stunned, then she smiled. These can be taught to ordinary soldiers. But it's not entirely impossible. Qi Yuan said, then took out the magic pen. Now, the Zhan Yuan Forbidden Land was under his control. He could change the rules of the Forbidden Land. Then let's add that exercising can increase cultivation. After thinking for a while, Qi Yuan wrote that doing push-ups, sit-ups, and other exercises would increase cultivation. After writing, Qi Yuan was thoughtful. It's done, but it seems there might be some side effects. Hair loss. So, even when changing the rules, it's based on my understanding. No, I need to be smart about this and not overthink it. Qi Yuan felt a headache and didn't delve further into the principles. He quickly said to Jin Li, in the Zhan Yuan Forbidden Land, doing the exercises I mentioned can quickly increase your cultivation. Bring more people to increase strength and try to clear the levels soon to help me farm instances. Doing those exercises in the Forbidden Land can enhance strength. Jin Li was a bit confused. Of course, why would I lie to you? But be mindful, doing these exercises too much can cause hair loss. Jin Li was still somewhat puzzled. Psychologically, she trusted Qi Yuan's words. But logically and rationally, she felt Qi Yuan was talking nonsense. As for the side effect of hair loss, she didn't pay much attention to it. Compared to increasing cultivation, what was that? However, after thinking for a while, she bit her red lips. Thank you. I need to log off, it's too late. Qi Yuan said. Where are you going? Jin Li asked. 7 Colors Peak, I'm a disciple of Shenguang sect. Qi Yuan finished speaking and logged off to sleep. Jin Li, however, memorized the place Qi Yuan mentioned. Shenguang sect, 7 Colors Peak. Where is that? Jin Li murmured. But thinking about the method Qi Yuan provided to get stronger, although ridiculous and somewhat absurd, it was so absurd that Jin Li chose to believe and act on it. Someone, go to the Grand General's residence. Night gradually fell. A carriage stopped outside the Zhan Yuan Forbidden Land. Inside the carriage were Jin Li's trusted followers, including Aunt Qin. They had traveled almost non-stop for a day and a night, without rest. When tired, they slept in the carriage. Finally, they arrived at the Zhan Yuan Forbidden Land. Did you all remember what I told you? Jin Li looked at the 30 or so people in front of her with a serious expression after getting off the carriage. All 30 of them were her loyal followers who would die for her. Aunt Qin was among them. These people all nodded, showing no resistance to Jin Li's orders. Aunt Qin held a ladder in her hands, lost in thought. She then asked, Your Majesty, is the imperial medicine obtained from the Zhan Yuan Forbidden Land? It seems Your Majesty has mastered the way to enter the Forbidden Land. Looking at the Forbidden Land ahead, Aunt Qin was curious about how to get inside. Would the ladder in her hands be of any use? Everyone, carry a ladder and enter the Zhan Yuan Forbidden Land together. Remember, no matter what happens, do not drop the ladder. Yes, Your Majesty. These followers, although puzzled, did as Jin Li instructed. They didn't speak, but their faces were full of questions. The commander of the Imperial Guard, Hua Xian, saw this and couldn't help but chuckle. The first time she entered the Zhan Yuan Forbidden Land this way, she was just as confused. Later, when they entered, their expressions would surely be interesting. Sure enough, when everyone carrying ladders entered the Forbidden Land without any hindrance, even the most well-trained Imperial Guards couldn't help but exclaim. Hua Xian had a smug smile. Carrying a ladder allows entry into the Zhan Yuan Forbidden Land. This information was given to me by a friend. This matter must not be leaked. Understood. These loyal followers all understood the seriousness of the matter. They all felt incredulous. The Zhan Yuan Forbidden Land hadn't been entered for thousands of years. Why, carrying a ladder, could let one in? Hadn't anyone tried this method in those thousands of years? But then again, which emperor would be so idle to carry a ladder into the Forbidden Land? But why did it work? Did carrying a ladder have some special significance? They were puzzled. After entering the Forbidden Land, the group went deeper inside. Jin Li spoke again. Keep carrying the ladder, don't let go. Remember the exercises I taught you on the way here? Yes. Organize yourselves. We will do those exercises in the Forbidden Land. Jin Li ordered. Everyone present was bewildered. Aunt Qin also asked, Your Majesty, why are we doing this? Aunt Qin, do you trust me? Jin Li looked at Aunt Qin and said seriously. Of course, I trust what Your Majesty says. Doing these exercises, Jin Li looked up at the sky, can quickly increase our cultivation in the Forbidden Land. What? Increase cultivation? If they weren't Jin Li's loyal followers, and if Jin Li wasn't the Empress, if it were some keyboard warriors from Qi Yuan's previous world, they would surely start mocking. Words like ridiculous and foolish would be thrown around. But these loyal followers, though their faces showed incomprehension, didn't speak. Aunt Qin felt the same. This was even harder to accept than carrying a ladder to enter the Forbidden Land. If cultivation were this simple, wouldn't the world be full of high-level cultivators? Aunt Qin naturally didn't believe it in her heart, but she still said slowly, this method of cultivation is indeed quite interesting. I wonder where your majesty learned it from. It was also told by that friend. Jin Li did not hide it. It seems that senior must be a powerful expert enjoying life. Aunt Chin murmured. The words, enjoying life, reflected her thoughts. However, she still carried the ladder and started doing push-ups. Let this old body try and see the effect. She took action. Everyone present stopped what they were doing and looked at Aunt Chin. Enhance your reading experience by removing ads for as low as $1. Remove ads from $1. Aunt Chin started by trying to do push-ups. She carried the ladder and bent down. Her palms touched the ground, and she felt there was nothing mystical about it. Perhaps, he's just making it up. With this thought, Aunt Chin began to do push-ups. It must be said that someone wearing silk clothes doing push-ups looked quite out of place. Within less than a breath, Aunt Chin was about to complete one push-up. Aunt Chin initially had a helpless smile because she didn't feel any operation of cultivation techniques or true essence during the push-up. Without these, how could one become stronger? But in the next moment, just as she completed one push-up, a special change came instantly. Jin Li hurriedly asked, Aunt Chin, how do you feel? At this moment, Aunt Chin was completely stunned. I feel, my body seems to have become stronger. What? Everyone present exclaimed. Could it be that exercising really could make one stronger? How much stronger? Hua Xian asked quickly. She feared Aunt Chin was considering Jin Li's status as the empress and thus gave a vague answer. Aunt Chin then said seriously, just one push-up is equivalent to half an hour of my cultivation. What? Everyone present was shocked. One push-up equaled half an hour of cultivation. Isn't that too exaggerated? Doesn't this mean that doing less than 10,000 push-ups is equivalent to a year's cultivation? Hua Xian calculated and was immediately astonished. If it's true, then cultivating here for one day would be equivalent to 10 years outside. Everyone was incredibly shocked. Doing push-ups could enhance cultivation. What kind of principle is this? How could such a thing exist? It's simply incomprehensible. It's like saying that eating, drinking, or even farting could break through cultivation. While everyone was amazed and puzzled, they all began to exercise. So, these 30 loyal followers all started exercising with ladders on their backs in the Zanyuan Forbidden Land. They were all cultivators, powerful, and did push-ups very quickly, lying down, as if flying. This scene was extremely shocking. If people from Qi Yuan's previous world saw this, they would definitely shout, awesome. Of course, if a video were posted, the comments would be, not a big deal, I could do that too, I have a friend who. After all, the comment section is where all kinds of geniuses and experts gather. I broke through. The bottleneck that trapped me for 3 years has been broken. Doing push-ups greatly helps in breaking through bottlenecks. Everyone present was incredibly astonished, quickly doing push-ups and sharing their feelings. In just half an hour, 3 people among the 30 had already broken through. 2 broke through minor stages, and 1 broke through a major stage. Quickly try the other exercises. Naturally, these people didn't just do push-ups but also tried other exercises. Pull-ups were difficult to do with ladders on their backs but still doable. Doing pull-ups also improved strength and cultivation, with different focuses. Some chose to do pull-ups, while others did push-ups. But how do we do sit-ups with a ladder on our backs? With a ladder on the back? Not necessarily. You can also use your feet. Stand the ladder up, hook it with your feet, and do sit-ups. Everyone carefully tried. They found that this indeed worked and could also quickly increase their cultivation. Some placed the ladder flat in the air and hooked it with their feet to do sit-ups. After all, they were cultivators and could easily do movements that even dancers found difficult. In the field, everyone was constantly exercising a push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups energetically. Jin Li looked at Aunt Chin and asked, Aunt Chin, how are you feeling? At this moment, Aunt Chin's face was rosy, and her cultivation became even deeper. She continued exercising. I feel miraculous. Even the Supreme Emperors might not have such means. Your friend's truly an expert outside the world. Thinking of Qi Yuan, Jin Li's expression became complex, a strong sense of inferiority surging. But thinking about her current predicament, she didn't have time to think about anything else. Aunt Chin, how long would it take you to reach the Emperor level here? Jin Li asked. Only by reaching the Emperor level could they win the duel in a few days. Just 2 days, and I will definitely reach the Emperor level. Aunt Chin confidently said. Originally, she was at the late stage of the king level. In the Zanyuan Forbidden Land, enhancing cultivation was like drinking water. Breaking through to the Emperor level was no problem. The Emperor level, she was extremely excited inside. Hearing this, Jin Li felt relieved. She looked at everyone and thought of something, then softly said, "There's one thing I forgot to tell you. In the Zanyuan Forbidden Land, exercising to enhance cultivation has certain side effects." Hearing this, everyone's joy was slightly dispersed. Right, that made sense. If there were no side effects to such a great increase in cultivation, that would be unreasonable. "We are willing to die for your majesty." They stopped exercising and shouted in unison, as if prepared for death. To them, such an amazing way to increase cultivation must have terrifying side effects. Aunt Qin also solemnly said, "To die for your majesty, we have no regrets." Seeing this, Jin Li felt touched but also found it a bit funny. The side effects aren't that terrible, it won't kill you all. Everyone felt relieved. The commander of the Imperial Guards, Hua Xian, looked at Jin Li and slowly asked, "May I ask what the side effects are?" "Getting stronger, might cause hair loss." Hair loss. Just hair loss. That's it. Everyone was shocked. Shocked that's it. With such a great enhancement, the side effect is just losing hair. Not to mention hair loss, in Nanqian country, some people even castrated themselves to practice evil arts for strength. Compared to that, what is hair loss? Nothing at all. A woman who had just broken through a major stage smiled, "I lost a dozen hairs when I broke through earlier. I didn't know the reason, turns out it was this." Not to mention losing a dozen hairs, even if all the hair on their bodies fell out, they would still be willing to break through a major stage. At this moment, a bald female guard suddenly said, "I don't have any hair, what will fall out?" Everyone looked at each other, not knowing how to answer. Time flew by. Qi Yuan hunted demonic monsters again. Now, through his efforts, he was already at level 88. He killed the demonic monsters with one sword strike. Unfortunately, these demonic monsters couldn't speak and didn't scream. Suddenly, Qi Yuan's expression changed dramatically. "So painful," he screamed, his face showing pain as he held his stomach, "My body is being cut apart." But soon, seeing the demonic monsters completely shattered, he showed a smug smile. "I'm such a nice guy. Seeing you can't talk, I specially did the voice acting for you. Today, I'll be a voice actor for a day." Saying this, he charged at the demonic monsters again with his sword. Strong sword skull split. No. Shao Shang sword rain. So painful. Dragon spin. Enhance your reading experience by removing ads for as low as $1. Remove ads from $1. After a massive slaughter, Qi Yuan dug a hole and buried himself again. In about 10 more days, I should reach level 90. I wonder what big skill will awaken then. Qi Yuan was very much looking forward to it. Once I reach level 90, the clothing forbidden area will soon be cleared as well. If I clear the map of this world, will I awaken new special abilities? Qi Yuan's mind wandered. After entering the game Jade Slip, it wasn't long before his eyes mutated, allowing him to see hidden information. If he cleared the game, would he undergo other mutations? Will I gain the ability to hear whispers from the indescribable, like a clairaudient? Or maybe, I'll grow a dog's nose. Qi Yuan thought whimsically. Lying in the pit, he still couldn't see the moon. Qi Yuan, thank you. Today, Aunt Qin defeated the Grand Master of Nanfeng Nation. When Aunt Qin displayed her emperor-level power, Sima Ting's gloomy expression was really something. Jin Li's message came through. It seemed she was genuinely happy, even using interjections in her message. Great, you've completed quite a few tasks as well. Finish them quickly, and we can meet in person. By the way, should we decide on a place to meet? Qi Yuan said whatever came to mind. On the other end, there was a long silence, and it took a while for a response. Under the ancient Qichuang wood, what do you think? Jin Li asked. The ancient Qichuang wood is the most mythically renowned tree on the moon-watching continent. The ancient tree reaches the sky, its height unknown, and legend has it that standing on top of it, one can grasp the stars. It is said that this tree was planted by a deity. Before the deity went to battle the sky demon, he planted an ancient Qichuang wood in his yard. The deity told his wife that he would return when the tree grew to 3 zhang high. The deity's wife waited under the ancient Qichuang wood, longing for him, for countless years. The tree, once as tall as a person, finally grew to 3 zhang high. Yet, she never saw her beloved return. Later, it grew to 30 zhong, then 300 zhong, even 30,000 zhong and higher. The deity's wife never saw her husband return victorious. The ancient Chi-chuang wood became the most legendary tree on the moon-watching continent. The ancient Chi-chuang wood. Qi Yuan was slightly stunned. He knew about this tree because there was one on the peak of Seven-Colored Peak. However, where could he find such a tree? Where is the ancient Chi-chuang wood? Jin Li was taken aback. She walked out of her house and looked into the distance. The silhouette of a gigantic tree came into her view. As long as one is on the moon-watching continent, no matter where they are, they can see the ancient Chi-chuang wood when looking up into the distance. The ancient tree reaches the sky, with stars dotting its leaves, twinkling. Look up and gaze southwest. The giant tree you see is the ancient Chi-chuang wood. Qi Yuan was slightly stunned. He climbed out of the pit and looked southwest. In the southwest direction, he saw a gigantic ancient tree reaching the sky, with stars seemingly within reach at its top. Is this the ancient Chi-chuang wood you're talking about? It's really big. If it grows a bit taller, it feels like it could touch the stars in the sky. By then, I'll make some barbecue, you bring some fine wine, and we'll camp under the ancient Chi-chuang wood. It'll be quite an experience. Qi Yuan crawled back into the pit. Sure, Jin Li's expression was complex. Today, Aunt Qin had a great victory. She wanted to seize the opportunity to eliminate Sima Ting's followers. Of course, she knew she hadn't won yet. There were still many dangers all around. Shen Guang sect. Qi Yuan was strolling with a knife, to be precise, a kitchen knife. At this time, a disciple of the Myriad Law's Peak greeted Qi Yuan, "Senior brother, the Foundation Establishment Conference is tomorrow, and you're still walking your pet." Qi Yuan didn't stop walking. "My pet is about to gain intelligence, so I can't be careless. I need to take it out for a walk." Hearing Qi Yuan's reply, the person smiled. "Senior brother is truly remarkable." Qi Yuan continued walking his knife, very seriously. Behind him, several disciples of Shen Guang sect were bowing their heads, discussing something. This Seven-Colored Peak guy is really calm. Tomorrow is the Foundation Establishment Conference, and he's still in the mood to walk his pet, and it's a kitchen knife. The emperor is not in a hurry, but the eunuch is. If you have no leisure, why aren't you representing Shen Guang sect in the competition? Ahem, it's because my cultivation isn't good enough. It's said that the prize for winning this Foundation Establishment Conference is a first-grade Foundation Establishment spiritual item, the yellow flower fruit. A first-grade Foundation Establishment spiritual item. Whoever wins it will surely be able to form a nascent soul. In the future, they'll be a big shot in Dashang Nation, and probably in other countries as well. A first-grade Foundation Establishment spiritual item is that strong. What about the Earth Vein Foundation Establishment or the Heavenly Tao Foundation Establishment? What kind of grandeur must they have? Don't even think about it. People like that are not ones we'll ever encounter. Everyone sighed, feeling the vastness of the universe and their own insignificance. At this moment, a male disciple gritted his teeth and said, "I heard Chu Tianshang of the Black Mountain sect will also come here." He dares to come. How dare he? Recently, an elder from the Black Mountain sect injured Zheng Zhonghe, and they still dare to come here. Our female disciples must be careful, or else. Some female disciples, faces turned pale, evidently very afraid of Chu Tianshang. HMPH, this is Shen Guang sect, one of the three major sects of Dashang. How can we let Black Mountain sect act recklessly? A disciple said forcefully. Towards the Black Mountain sect, Shen Guang sect disciples were united in their anger but also felt helpless. After all, the black chicken old demon was like a heavy mountain pressing down on the three major sects. Qi Yuan naturally didn't hear what these people were saying. He walked his knife and slowly returned to Seven-Colored Peak. Oh dear, why haven't you awakened intelligence yet? Qi Yuan wanted to pat the knife but feared cutting his hand. The biggest fear was making the knife stupid. What if it became a fool after gaining intelligence? But it should be within these 2 days, maybe even tonight. Qi Yuan thought. He returned to the yard and tied the knife to a stake. Tonight, I need to quickly finish the game and go to bed early. Tomorrow I have to attend that stupid Foundation Establishment Conference. Annoying. Qi Yuan felt very socially anxious. He still preferred interacting with the speechless monsters in the game, even doing voiceovers for them. At tomorrow's Foundation Establishment Conference, he would be the face of Shen Guang sect, welcoming people from other sects and interacting with them. Just thinking about it was annoying. If only my body were a star in the vast universe, just hanging in the sky, not having to say anything. Thinking this, Qi Yuan entered the game. What he didn't know was that, at night, the kitchen knife suddenly sprang up, cutting the rope that tied it. It searched anxiously around the hut for a while and found some grass to eat. Apparently starving, it set its sights on a nearby hut. By the moonlight, it sneaked out. Then, it greedily eyed the hut. If it had eyes, they would be glowing, but finally, it hesitated and started, rummaging through the trash heap. About half an hour later, it quietly returned and tied itself back up with the rope. Enhance your reading experience by removing ads for as low as $1. Remove ads from $1. Morning light gently illuminated the sky as the dawn broke. Zhang Lingsu, dressed in a green long skirt, with her silk-like attire flowing, resembled a green snake woman. Her lively eyes still held a trace of drowsiness as she brushed the hair from her temples and took a deep breath. It seems I lost a piece of Jin Yuan jade yesterday. Alas, it's a pity I can't buy it in Shenguang sect. I'll have to make do. Jin Yuan jade is a type of spiritual jade that, when lit, emits a profound fragrance that brightens the eyes and calms the mind. Yesterday, a puppet cleaned the house and threw a partially used piece into the trash heap. In the past, she wouldn't have cared. But here in Shenguang sect, she couldn't buy a replacement. She decided to retrieve it from the trash heap. She went to the trash heap, covering her nose with her sleeve, intending to summon the puppet to find the piece of Jin Yuan jade. But, the trash heap. Who rummaged through this? She stared at the trash heap, stunned. The trash heap usually contained her household waste and some remnants of unused spiritual items. Like the Jin Yuan jade. Unexpectedly, someone had gone through the trash heap outside her house. She thought of something and a talisman appeared in her hand. This talisman, called the Sensing Talisman, was one of the many talismans Zhang Lingsu possessed, crafted by a spirit infant stage cultivator. She usually placed it by her bed for warning. Seeing the trash heap rummaged through, she immediately took out the Sensing Talisman to check for clues. In the middle of the Sensing Talisman, there was a faint line. Last night at the hour of the ox. A living creature lingered outside my house for the time it takes an incense stick to burn. Zhang Lingsu inferred from the remaining information on the Sensing Talisman that a living creature had lingered outside her house for quite a while last night. But there was no malice, the Sensing Talisman hadn't alerted her, otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to sleep. Zhang Lingsu frowned at the trash heap. There are only Master, me, and Senior Brother on 7-colored peak. Other ordinary animals wouldn't trigger the Sensing Talisman. At least, it must be a spiritual being. Could it be? Suddenly, Zhang Lingsu looked towards the thatched house next door. She remembered the way Senior Brother ate spiritual food last time, and an inexplicable emotion arose within her. Alas, she thought for a moment and returned to her room. Half an hour later, Zhang Lingsu arrived outside Qi Yuan's courtyard. Senior Brother, are you up? Zhang Lingsu called softly. What is it, junior sister? Qi Yuan had changed into a white robe, looking quite handsome and elegant. Today was the Foundation Establishment Conference, so he got up earlier than usual. Seeing Qi Yuan's appearance, Zhang Lingsu felt refreshed. Indeed, seeing beautiful things always puts one in a good mood. Senior Brother, may I trouble you with something? Zhang Lingsu asked. Oh, what is it? Qi Yuan was very enthusiastic. He was quite grateful for the technique jade slip and the spiritual food junior sister gave him last time. Senior Brother, do you know if there are any special people or mysterious individuals in our sect? Zhang Lingsu initially focused on the Master of 7-Colored Peak, Ruan Yishi, as the one who could resist calamity. However, she thought it might be good to consider more people. Special people? Qi Yuan pondered and then his eyes lit up. I know someone very special. Who is it? Zhang Lingsu's heart skipped a beat. Me. Qi Yuan pointed to himself. Zhang Lingsu was taken aback. Senior Brother was indeed special. After all, the disciples of the fool's lineage were all a bit abnormal in the head. Zhang Lingsu felt disheartened, thinking that asking Senior Brother was unreliable, but she recalled the morning incident. She took out a storage bag. Senior Brother, here are 1,000 spirit stones as your reward. Please keep an eye out for special people, and there will be more rewards later. Qi Yuan looked at the storage bag, blinking. Why is junior sister doing this? Zhang Lingsu didn't expect Senior Brother to ask this. But on second thought, the fool's lineage was just a bit foolish, not stupid. She recited the reason she had prepared. Before I came to Shenguang sect, I met a fortune teller. He told me there is a special person in the sect who is my benefactor, so I want to find out who it is. Hearing Zhang Lingsu's words, Qi Yuan suddenly blurted out. Trusting you is like trusting I'm Qin Shuang. Zhang Lingsu, Qi Yuan continued, I'll take this task. Qi Yuan accepted the storage bag. His eyes could see different information. Finding a special person should be quite suitable. Does this person have any other characteristics? Qi Yuan asked again. Zhang Lingsu lowered her head. His strength should be extremely high, or his talent very exceptional. Oh, and he might not be human. I'm counting on you, senior brother. Zhang Lingsu finished speaking and left Qi Yuan's courtyard. Qi Yuan held the storage bag, looking at the 1,000 spirit stones inside. He had to admit, it was his first time seeing such a large sum. However, he felt no great emotion. Instead, he murmured, why would junior sister give me spirit stones? It seemed she genuinely needed his help. But these spirit stones seemed like they were just given to him. Could it be that junior sister saw through my inner pretense and wants to tear off my mask? Is she trying to take care of me? Qi Yuan thought whimsically, but he didn't dwell on it and instead focused on the kitchen knife tied in the yard. Junior sister saw through my stubbornness, but have you, knife? The kitchen knife lay on the ground, motionless. What name should I give you? The knife remained still. Knife, kitchen knife, little knife, blade, demon knife, heavenly knife. The knife finally reacted, trembling slightly. Qi Yuan grabbed the knife, his eyes showing a puzzled look. Is this what gaining intelligence looks like? It's not even as smart as my little eye. Little eye, when asked to fart, at least knew to call on the nearby Xiaodu to do it. This knife, whether it had intelligence or not, seemed no different. But thinking about it, this was normal. However, holding the knife, Qi Yuan felt his combat power had increased. Summer 8 slashes, how many core formation cultivators could it kill? Unfortunately, this was 7-colored peak, not a good place to practice with the knife. And he had to represent Shenguang sect at the Foundation Establishment Conference, leaving no time to practice. In Shenguang sect, the Foundation Establishment Conference finally began. This time, due to the first-grade Foundation Establishment spiritual item, the yellow flower fruit, the participants from various sects in Dashang Nation were not weak. Elder Fei Hua from Demon Desire sect has arrived. Sword Master of Splitting Light from Floating Mountain has arrived. King of Changshan County has arrived. Ancestor Worship Chicken from Black Mountain sect has arrived. With the boys' announcements, colorful clouds gathered outside Shenguang sect's mountain gate. One by one, spirit boats stopped in the sky, landing in front of Shenguang sect's mountain gate. Qi Yuan, dressed in a white robe, stood with the wind blowing his clothes, making a rustling sound. He looked at the arriving sect members with a gentle smile in his eyes. Welcome, everyone, to Shenguang sect to attend the Foundation Establishment Conference. At this moment, he was quite reliable. Enhance your reading experience by removing ads for as low as $1. Remove ads from $1. The various sect cultivators landed, their expressions varied. Qi Yuan stood aside, already knowing the leaders of each sect. Because the Foundation Establishment spiritual item this time was first grade, the people sent by each sect were stronger than usual. In past Foundation Establishment conferences, no core formation true cultivators would attend. But this time, there were 4. 2 from Floating Mountain and Demon Desire sect. Representing the Great Shang Nation, the King of Changshan County. And the Ancestor Worship Chicken from Black Mountain sect. According to the unspoken rules of the cultivation world, apart from the 3 major sects and the Great Shang Nation, other sects, even if they valued it, could not send core formation true cultivators. But Black Mountain sect was arrogant and had always pushed to become the 4th major sect, so they sent Ancestor Worship Chicken. Behind these strong figures stood some Foundation Establishment elders and disciples at the peak of Qi refinement. Many of those disciples at the peak of Qi refinement had sharp eyes, clearly hoping to make a mark at this Foundation Establishment Conference. Some disciples from smaller sects, however, looked a bit nervous, obviously afraid of not performing well. The King of Changshan County was a handsome man with a beautiful beard. He wore silk and satin clothes, striding forward towards Qi Yuan, with a smile on his face. Where is your sect master? Not in closed-door cultivation, I hope. After the Foundation Establishment Conference, have him join me for a few drinks. The King of Changshan County appeared very carefree. He was a core formation true cultivator but spoke with a bold air. The other core formation true cultivators present looked at the King of Changshan County with some awe. After all, the king of Changshan County was the father of the current empress of the great Shang nation, giving him strong confidence. After the Foundation Establishment Conference, the king may inquire with our sect elders. Qi Yuan's thoughts wandered. If the king of Changshan County knew his daughter was involved with the sect master, would he still be able to drink happily with the sect master? After all, the sect master was much older than the king of Changshan County. Qi Yuan was the chief disciple of Seven-Colored Peak. Though only at the peak of Qi refinement, his status was just slightly below that of a core formation cultivator, and he was representing Shenguang sect. So, these core formation cultivators conversed with him on equal terms. At this moment, Ancestor Worship Chicken of Black Mountain sect spoke impatiently. Why hasn't the Foundation Establishment Conference started yet? I need to get back and raise chicks. The other sect elders present had slightly changed expressions, clearly displeased with Ancestor Worship Chicken's words. The king of Changshan County laughed heartily. Why so impatient, Ancestor Worship Chicken? It won't take long. Seeing the king of Changshan County speak, Ancestor Worship Chicken gave him face. If it had been anyone else, he would have retorted. Qi Yuan also spoke. Everyone, please. Ancestor Worship Chicken, originally named Kunshan Master, later recognized the old black chicken demon as a foster father along with the sect master of Black Mountain sect, thus changing his name to Ancestor Worship Chicken. The group followed Qi Yuan, slowly walking into Shenguang sect. The leading elders chatted as they walked. As for the others, they remained silent. At this moment, a rather frivolous voice sounded. Yo, isn't this Zhang Ran? How did you escape to Shenguang sect? Everyone turned to look at a frivolous-looking Foundation Establishment cultivator. Within Shenguang sect, a young girl turned pale. She was Zhang Ran. Qi Yuan had met her twice. Qi Yuan knew Zhang Ran had a special constitution and was regarded as a furnace by the old black chicken demon. Previously, Zhang Ran had complained about Black Mountain sect with Zhang Lingsu. Qi Yuan looked at the frivolous-looking man. He is an ordinary demonic cultivator. His face is faintly dark, indicating a calamity of bloodshed. The disciples of Shenguang sect also looked at the frivolous-looking man, all with angry expressions, gnashing their teeth. Chu Tianshang, how dare you come to our Shenguang sect? Unforgivable. The frivolous-looking man was Chu Tianshang, who had committed heinous crimes in Rong City. He had raped several newlywed women and killed their entire families. Zheng Zhonghe led the Golden Light Hall to capture Chu Tianshang. However, a Foundation Establishment Peak elder from Black Mountain sect appeared, injured Zheng Zhonghe, and rescued Chu Tianshang, acting extremely arrogantly. Chu Tianshang, hearing the Shenguang sect disciples, sneered even more. Your gnashing teeth look just like that Zheng Zhonghe from a while ago. The disciples of Shenguang sect were even more furious upon hearing this. After all, senior brother Zheng Zhonghe was injured because of Chu Tianshang. And Chu Tianshang had not been punished for his crimes. At Shenguang sect's mountain gate, several elderly men with white hair were kneeling, exposed to the elements. They were the relatives of the victims. As for the families of the grooms, none survived. It was truly tragic. At this moment, Qi Yuan, who had been silent, suddenly spoke. Dao brother, I have recently studied a divination technique. May I read your fortune? Chu Tianshang was stunned, squinting. Feel free to do so, junior brother. I see that your face is dark. You will likely encounter a calamity of bloodshed soon. Qi Yuan said softly. His words caused a silence. No one spoke. Chu Tianshang's face showed anger. He seemed about to lose his temper, but Ancestor Worship Chicken stopped him. Hearing the transmission, Chu Tianshang said, Good, 3 times in succession, then said, Thank you for your kind words, junior brother. I will remember them. Black Mountain sect did not fear Shenguang sect but did not dare provoke Seven-Colored Peak. The incident passed, and the Foundation Establishment Conference began. The disciples from various sects at the peak of Qi refinement took to the stage one after another. The Foundation Establishment Conference was simple, just dueling. Qi Yuan found it quite boring. After all, in the game world, he was invincible. Watching such low-level battles was dull. If there weren't so many people, he would have taken out his game Jade Slip to play. At this moment, a voice sounded in Qi Yuan's ear. Senior brother, it's your turn. Seeing this, Qi Yuan slowly walked onto the stage. The core formation true cultivators and Foundation Establishment cultivators all focused on Qi Yuan. After all, Qi Yuan was the chief disciple of Seven-Colored Peak, with a very special status. Duantian Zhao from Demon Desire sect greets senior brother. Duan Zhao was dressed in black, with a curvaceous figure and a tear mole under her left eye, looking particularly charming. Qi Yuan of Shenguang sect. Qi Yuan introduced himself. He also sized up Duan Zhao. She is an ordinary cultivator but has a little quirk. She likes to pick her feet. Be careful not to get kicked by her, or you might get Athletia's foot. Qi Yuan was momentarily stunned. This beautiful girl, despite her appearance, was skilled in biochemical attacks. He needed to be cautious. Begin. With the sound of a bell, the battle commenced. Qi Yuan was extremely cautious, keeping his eyes on Duan Zhao's feet. When he saw Duan Zhao flying towards him, he raised his hand lightly. However, before he could use his power, something surprising happened. Poof! Duan Zhao flew out, vomiting blood. Senior brother, as expected of the chief disciple of Seven-Colored Peak, your acupoint hitting technique from a distance is formidable. Tian Zhao admits defeat. Duan Zhao stood up and surrendered. Qi Yuan was dumbfounded. I hadn't even exerted force, and you fell. No, he hadn't even made a move, and the opponent lost. Was there a conspiracy in this Foundation Establishment Conference? The other sect elders and Qi refinement disciples were not surprised. But some disciples looked at Qi Yuan with a hint of jealousy. Enhance your reading experience by removing ads for as low as $1. Remove ads from $1. Qi Yuan stood on the stage, his sleeves fluttering in the wind. Could it be, I'm too handsome? The opponent was so captivated that she directly surrendered. Qi Yuan looked at the conceding Duan Tianzhao and confirmed she was a woman. Being captivated by his looks was perfectly normal. As for the gazes from others directed at him, he seemed not to notice. This battle, Qi Yuan wins. Qi Yuan accepted the result with ease. He stepped down from the stage. Other cultivators then took turns to perform martial arts and duels, fighting fiercely. Qi Yuan sat among the crowd, feeling drowsy from watching. Changshan County King stroked his beard, smiling. Young brother Qi, with the yellow flower fruit, a first-grade Foundation establishment item, your future is promising. Qi Yuan was a bit puzzled. The duels are not over yet, how does the County King know I can take the top prize? Changshan County King smiled without answering. Time flew by. It was Qi Yuan's turn again. This time, Qi Yuan faced a sword cultivator from Suspended Mountain. Sword cultivators were quite rare in the Great Shang Kingdom. Qi Yuan took the duel seriously. He actually wanted to see if the sword cultivators' sword control technique involved stepping on the sword to fly or transforming into sword light. Of course, he also understood that the opponent, being in the Qi refining stage, couldn't possibly perform sword flight. Please enlighten me. The sword was a gentleman's weapon, so Qi Yuan faced the sharp-eyed young man with humility and courtesy. The young sword cultivator from Suspended Mountain held an iron sword, its cold light flashing, and pointed it at Qi Yuan. Qi Yuan extended his hand, forming a sword gesture. In the game world, his weapon was a great sword. The way of the sword. A hearty and exhilarating competition between men about swordsmanship was about to begin. However, at the critical moment, the young sword cultivator's face turned pale, clutching his stomach, such a domineering spell, harming people invisibly. Brother, I concede. That's right, the young man directly conceded and stepped down from the stage. Qi Yuan was stunned. This scene felt a bit coincidental. Could it be that his charm had already started to captivate men? Thinking of this, Qi Yuan decided it might be best to go out less. With another victory, Qi Yuan stepped down. He squinted his eyes and looked towards Seven-Colored Peak. The peaks were towering, piercing through the clouds, with faintly visible white jade palaces. Master, Qi Yuan thought about that unconventional woman. Perhaps only she in the entire Shenguang sect could be so shameless to do such a thing. Young brother Qi, isn't the yellow flower fruit as good as yours? Changshan County King said with a smile in his eyes, having such a master is a blessing for life. After the yellow flower fruit, a first-grade Foundation establishment item, emerged. These cultivators from major sects and wealthy families were indeed quite excited, rubbing their hands eagerly. Unfortunately, the Peak Master of Seven-Colored Peak had sent pigeons to other sects. No bribes, only threats, and some favors. These major sect members, feeling both helpless and unconvinced, could only hold back. After all, there was only one such shameless cultivator, and her strength was formidable. They had to give face to the Peak Master of Seven-Colored Peak. So, they came and put on such a show. Of course, other Qi refining stage disciples would still try their best in duels. Foundation establishment items were not limited to the yellow flower fruit. Qi Yuan looked at Changshan County King and slowly said, "Is my master's face that big?" Rather than saying her face is big, it's better to say her strength is strong. Changshan County King revealed a look of reminiscence. 30 years ago, the Devil Desire sect was ambitious, seemingly wanting to unify the Great Shang and become the leader of the Immortal Way. Do you know what happened later? Qi Yuan showed a curious look, listening attentively. To be honest, he had only been in this world for half a year. The time spent with his master was not much, and he didn't know much about her, except that she was very beautiful. Your master, the Peak Master of Seven-Colored Peak, went to the Devil Desire sect alone. She said she had taken a liking to the newly grown ancient Chi Chuan tree of the Devil Desire sect. At that time, the Devil Desire sect was in high spirits, so a battle was inevitable. No one knows how the process went, but everyone knows your master transplanted that ancient Chi Chuan tree to Seven-Colored Peak. Changshan County King smiled. Since then, the Devil Desire sect never mentioned becoming the leader of the Immortal Way in Great Shang again. Of course, because of this incident, the Peak Master of Seven-Colored Peak had earned favors from various sects, which is why they were willing to give her face and let her disciple have the first-grade foundation establishment item. Without thinking, Qi Yuan said, "The domineering master fell in love with me." Changshan County King's smile disappeared. "You brat, keep your voice down, don't implicate me." Changshan County King was quite afraid of the Peak Master of Seven-Colored Peak. It was rumored that she was a great cultivator in the late nascent soul stage. If not for her injuries, she would have already entered the Purple Mansion realm. In the subsequent process, Qi Yuan's duels went smoothly. As long as he stepped onto the stage, his opponents would concede. Probably, they had received instructions from their sect elders not to hurt the beloved disciple of the Peak Master of Seven-Colored Peak. However, when Qi Yuan entered the final round of duels, an unexpected event occurred. Black Mountain Sect, Chu Yundong, please enlighten me. Chu Yundong, dressed in black, exuded a strong aura of evil. He did not immediately concede but looked solemnly at Qi Yuan. Qi Yuan was not surprised. Please enlighten me. He said this while looking at the peculiar-shaped magic weapon in Chu Yundong's hand. It looked like a feather duster, but with black feathers, densely packed and extremely hard. This is a foundation establishment magic weapon. When used, the feathers scatter like flowers, capable of injuring foundation establishment cultivators. The elders of various sects in the audience were all surprised, some even looked at Baiji Laozu, pondering something. The Black Mountain sect's ambition is not small. The Feihua elder from the Devil Desire sect looked at Baiji Laozu. Baiji Laozu smiled. The foundation establishment item is for everyone to compete for. Otherwise, what is the point of holding this foundation establishment conference? Even using a foundation establishment magic weapon. The split light sword master from Suspended Mountain squinted at Baiji Laozu. The black chicken old demon has probably refined his cultivation again. Others also looked at Baiji Laozu, trying to glean more information about the black chicken old demon. The sudden move by the Black Mountain sect made everyone suspect the involvement of the black chicken old demon. The black chicken old demon was a mid-nascent soul stage cultivator, while the Peak Master of Seven-Colored Peak was rumored to be a late-nascent soul stage cultivator with injuries. Could it be, the black chicken old demon had broken through to the late-nascent soul stage? From this small matter, everyone in the audience tried to infer much more. Chu Tianshang also showed a pleased smile. Previously, Qi Yuan had predicted a disaster for him, and he was about to get angry but was stopped by the patriarch. Now, seeing this scene, he was very satisfied. He hoped to see Chu Yundong use the foundation establishment magic weapon to defeat Qi Yuan and take the first-grade foundation establishment item. The sect elders were no longer focused on the outcome of the duel but on how to relay the information back to their sects. Only Changshan County King and Chu Tianshang were still paying attention to the stage. Unfortunately, due to the rules, Changshan County King could not remind Qi Yuan to be cautious of Chu Yundong's foundation establishment magic weapon. Enhance your reading experience by removing ads for as low as $1. Remove ads from $1. Begin. With the sound of the bell, the final battle began. The disciples of the Divine Light sect all watched the stage with worried expressions. At this moment, Qi Yuan also moved. Since the opponent was holding a foundation establishment magic weapon, it was best to prevent the opponent from unleashing its full power. Although he wasn't afraid, there was no need to complicate matters when it could be resolved easily. Stealth technique. In an instant, Qi Yuan's figure disappeared from the stage. Chu Yundong was stunned for a moment. Where did he go? At that moment, a massive fist landed on the back of his head. Bang! Chu Yundong didn't have time to react and was knocked out with one punch. Having played games for so long, Qi Yuan had rich experience in fighting monsters. With skills like quick scoping, dodging, and combo attacks, he could handle Chu Yundong effortlessly. Qi Yuan knocked out Chu Yundong with a single punch, then cast a dust cleaning spell on his fist. Who knows if Chu Yundong had dandruff? He raised his fist like a champion boxer and said, "I won." Unfortunately, there were no sexy ring girls holding up cards for him, nor were there any bold ones giving him a kiss. Only the bearded old man, King Changshan, stood up and waved enthusiastically at Qi Yuan. Divine Light Sect, Qi Yuan wins. With this announcement, everyone finally noticed what had happened on the stage. Chu Tianshang's face darkened as he looked at the fallen Chu Yundong. Useless. Patriarch Beiji was also momentarily stunned but ultimately said nothing. The other sect disciples were not surprised. After all, Qi Yuan was the top disciple of the seven-colored peak. Even if there was no underhanded scheme in this foundation establishment tournament, he still had a good chance of winning. Of course, without the seven-colored peak master's prior notice, the tournament wouldn't have been this harmonious, and the outcome would have been uncertain. No wonder he's the top disciple of the seven-colored peak. He doesn't just cultivate mana, his fighting skills are also deep. Senior brother, how did you win? A disciple of the Divine Light Sect asked. In their eyes, Qi Yuan was a disciple of the Obsession lineage, with good talent, but as for fighting skills, everyone knew that the top disciple of the seven-colored peak never visited the martial hall to spar. He was obsessed with games or wandered around with a cleaver. Play more games, Qi Yuan answered sincerely. The disciples laughed at this. Qi Yuan stepped down from the stage, feeling relaxed. The tournament had been hastily organized and would be wrapped up hastily. As he stepped down, he saw a white-haired elder of the sect smiling kindly at him, holding a brown wooden box adorned with bird and fish carvings. Qi Yuan, this is the reward for this foundation establishment tournament, the Grade 1 Foundation Establishment Spirit item, the yellow flower fruit. The elder handed the box to Qi Yuan. Around him, disciples from the Divine Light Sect and other sects looked on with envy. Even some elders were extremely envious. Qi Yuan's eyes sparkled. 10,000 spirit stones. This was worth 10,000 spirit stones. The elder encouraged him, I hope you can use this spirit item to establish your foundation soon and add to the sect's strength. Foundation establishment. Qi Yuan didn't plan to use the yellow flower fruit for that. He had a better option, a Heavenly Tao Foundation establishment. What Deacon Shu Renshin had mentioned about the Heavenly Tao Foundation establishment was already ingrained in his mind. Of course, he didn't say any of this. Under the envious gazes of the crowd, Qi Yuan bid farewell to the elders of the various sects and prepared to return to the seven-colored peak. Young brother Qi, given time, you might make it to the Tianzhou list of our great Shang. Now that the tournament is over, I'll go have a drink with your sect master, King Changshan said, waving his sleeve and leaving gracefully. In the crowd, Chu Tianshang looked at Qi Yuan, a flash of greed in his eyes. At this moment, Qi Yuan seemed to notice Chu Tianshang, showing a concerned expression. Senior brother, be careful recently. The blood calamity around you is getting stronger. He felt that Chu Tianshang was close to death. He just didn't know who the blood calamity would fall upon. Chu Tianshang's face grew darker. HMPH, you should worry about your junior sister Zhang Ran. I see that she is the one with a blood calamity. Oh, really? I should do a divination for junior sister Zhang Ran, Qi Yuan said, as if he took Chu Tianshang's words seriously. She is an ordinary cultivator. Recently, auspicious signs have appeared around her, indicating that something good is about to happen. After checking, Qi Yuan looked at Chu Tianshang. My divination tells me that junior sister Zhang Ran has something good happening. Maybe you should kowtow to her and share the good fortune. Maybe it will drive away your blood calamity. Qi Yuan spoke sincerely, truly thinking about Chu Tianshang's well-being. Chu Tianshang was furious, eventually leaving in a huff, unwilling to continue the conversation. Qi Yuan sighed. A dog bites la 1/4 dongbin, it doesn't recognize a good person's heart. With that, he took the yellow flower fruit and prepared to return to the seven-colored peak. Since his master thought so much of him, he should show some gratitude. Senior brother Qi Yuan, thank you. At that moment, Zhang Ran approached, her eyes a bit red. Today, Chu Tianshang had caused her trouble, and she was terrified. It was senior brother Qi Yuan who had stepped up to help her. Qi Yuan was puzzled. Thank me for what? Thank you for standing up for me and saying that. Chu Tianshang has a blood calamity, which made him so angry, Zhang Ran explained, feeling a bit relieved. Qi Yuan smiled. I was telling the truth, he does have a blood calamity. Unfortunately, he doesn't listen. If he had kowtowed to you, maybe it would have been dispelled. People need to listen to advice. I once knew someone who did and became a big streamer. Listening to Qi Yuan's rambling, Zhang Ran's worries eased a lot. Senior brother, you are so interesting. But then she remembered something and said seriously, Senior brother, you must be careful of Chu Tianshang. He is ruthless and vengeful. Don't leave the sect if you can. Why fear a little Chu Tianshang? I can cut off his head with one swing, fulfilling his blood calamity, Qi Yuan said casually. Knowing Qi Yuan's nonchalant attitude, Zhang Ran still warned, Chu Tianshang is a Foundation establishment expert, and his wife is a concubine of the Black Chicken Old Demon. Because of this, he is highly favored in the Black Mountain sect. You must be careful. Qi Yuan raised an eyebrow. I didn't know he was a cuckold, quite considerate of safety. After finishing his conversation with Zhang Ran, Qi Yuan took the yellow flower fruit and left. Zhang Ran watched his departing figure and sighed. With a grade 1 Foundation establishment spirit item, perhaps in 500 years, senior brother could reach the nascent soul stage. By then, I wonder if I will still be alive. The Black Chicken Old Demon loomed like a dark cloud over her heart. The arrogant and ruthless Chu Tianshang was a thorn in the side of all Divine Light sect disciples, including Zhang Ran. After all, the crimes Chu Tianshang committed in Wrong City recently had not been punished. Learning that the Black Mountain sect group would rest in Wrong City for the night made Zhang Ran even more angry and powerless. Enhance your reading experience by removing ads for as low as $1. Remove ads from $1. Qi Yuan, carrying the grade 1 Foundation establishment spirit item, the yellow flower fruit, returned to 7-colored peak. He quickly arrived back at the courtyard. His junior sister, Zhang Lingsu, was cultivating and seemed to have reached a crucial point. Qi Yuan glanced at her thatched hut, which was filled with white mist, indicating that she was at a critical stage in her cultivation. He passed by the hut and continued up the mountain. Soon, a barrier appeared before him. It was the restriction placed by his master, Ruan Yishi, to prevent him from going up the mountain. Open sesame, Qi Yuan tried shouting. Unfortunately, the barrier remained unmoved. Could it be that I misunderstood master's intentions? Qi Yuan pondered. There was no need to guess his master's intentions since she had obtained the grade 1 Foundation establishment spirit item for him. Could it be that he was too reserved? Seeing this, Qi Yuan held up the yellow flower fruit. Master, your disciple Qi Yuan has brought a betrothal gift. The barrier still did not move. Qi Yuan looked up and saw the clouds in the sky gathering, seemingly hiding a peerless beast. A cold wind blew, causing Qi Yuan's face to sting. After a while, the strange phenomena disappeared. Qi Yuan looked puzzled. Could it be that I misunderstood master's intentions? No, it must be that the yellow flower fruit has a bad connotation. Yellow flowers, tomorrow's yellow flowers. Or maybe, is it possible that she's already my wife, and there's no need to bring a betrothal gift? Thinking this, Qi Yuan became excited again. His eyes clearly saw. Her name is Ruan Yishi. She appears to be your beautiful master, but in reality, she might be your wife. What he saw with his own eyes could not be false. As everyone knows, the eyes do not lie, and what the eyes see cannot be photoshopped. Of course, if people from his country heard Qi Yuan's words, they might say he was delusional. Qi Yuan put down the yellow flower fruit and prepared to return to his thatched hut. At this moment, Zhang Lingsu came out of her hut, her face filled with suspicion. Senior brother, did you feel any strange phenomena just now? While cultivating, she suddenly felt the changes of the 4 seasons, as if a strong person's emotional fluctuations caused a spiritual energy disturbance. It might be master, Qi Yuan did not hide the fact. Master, Zhang Lingsu thought it was possible. She looked at Qi Yuan, thinking it was probably her strange senior brother who had somehow offended their master. If it was master, it made sense. Zhang Lingsu's gaze fell on the box in Qi Yuan's hand. She sniffed with her delicate nose. A grade 1 Foundation establishment spirit item, the yellow flower fruit. Senior brother, impressive. In her opinion, her senior brother had talent, but his combat skills were probably lacking. After all, being obsessed with games left little opportunity to improve practical fighting skills. Qi Yuan looked at Zhang Lingsu with confusion. You don't happen to have the surname Zhou, do you? Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. Zhang Lingsu was bewildered by her senior brother's strange thought process. You know, the one living in the shadow of Sherlock. Qi Yuan tried to recall. Zhang Lingsu was speechless. She thought her senior brother must have played too many games, confusing games with reality. Senior brother, are you going out to wander with your knife again? Zhang Lingsu changed the topic, not wanting to continue the bizarre conversation. Not today. Huh, don't you go every day? Today, I need to sharpen my knife. What are you doing? I want to eat fish. Senior brother, for some reason, everything you say sends a chill down my spine. At the Divine Light sect, Zheng Zhonghei's face was pale, indicating that his previous injuries had not yet healed completely. A physician from the Divine Medicine Peak spoke softly, your injuries are not fully healed yet. Do you still want to go? Zheng Zhonghei's face was grim. As a disciple of the Golden Light Hall, I must go. If something like that happens in Wrong City again, how can I face the world? Sigh, you are too resolute, the physician lamented, applying prepared medicinal liquid to Zheng Zhonghei's wounds. Zheng Zhonghei had just broken through to Foundation establishment and had not yet learned any healing secret techniques. He also lacked proficiency in wood and water-based spells, making his healing process incredibly slow. Today, the Black Mountain sect is causing trouble, showing their arrogance. According to the elders on the peak, the black chicken old demon might have reached the late stage of the nascent soul realm. That Chu Tianshang will probably become even more arrogant. Choosing to stay overnight in Wrong City might hide ulterior motives. The physician was worried for Zheng Zhonghei. If I go, they will have scruples. Did they dare to kill me? Zheng Zhonghei's eyes were filled with intense killing intent. Everyone from the Black Mountain sect deserves to die. He knew well what kind of notorious existence the Black Mountain sect was. None of their disciples were good people, they were all demon cultivators with blood-stained hands. A few years ago, an elder at the Yuan Dan stage from the Black Mountain sect refined a soul-gathering banner by extracting the souls of an entire town's inhabitants. Afterward, that Yuan Dan elder shamelessly said he gave the townspeople something to do because they were too idle. Those demonic cultivators had long since lost their humanity. The physician understood Zheng Zhonghei's thoughts but couldn't help saying, they might not dare to kill you, but they could harm you. Be careful this time. Wrong City. A spacious courtyard was now devoid of any human presence. The broken windows seemed to still have remnants of red paper cutouts. In the courtyard pond, a few fish swam, seemingly waiting to be fed. On the moss-covered marble, faint traces of blood could still be seen. Chu Tianshang stepped into the courtyard, laughing heartily. Elder, let's stay here tonight. Patriarch Beiji looked at the courtyard, revealing a satisfied smile. Tianshang, you really know how to handle things. Staying here will surely disgust those righteous hypocrites. The other disciples of the Black Mountain sect approached and asked, Deacon Tianshang, what's special about this place? Why would staying here upset the Divine Light sect? Chu Tianshang laughed. Half a month ago, the man of this house got married. The bride he married was incredibly beautiful, even more so than my master's wife. Hearing this, the disciples of the Black Mountain sect had their eyes light up. More beautiful than your master's wife? Deacon Tianshang, you are in luck. In front of her husband, I was about to, but the woman was so strong-willed that she directly killed herself by hitting the pillar. See, that very pillar over there. I killed them in half the time of a stick of incense and then slept with her corpse for a night. Deacon Tianshang, how was the taste of the corpse? HMPH. Chu Tianshang snorted coldly, do you all think I'm just a lustful killer? If you think of me that way, you're underestimating me. I forcefully took a newlywed wife and killed her entire family not for simple carnal desires but to practice a Taoist technique. If one is controlled by simple desires, they are not worthy of the path of cultivation. The other Black Mountain sect disciples looked at him with admiration. Deacon Tianshang, well said. Taoist techniques above all. Enhance your reading experience by removing ads for as low as $1. Remove ads from $1. Deacon Tianshang, when we entered the city today, I seemed to hear the sound of firecrackers and gongs, as if someone was getting married. I deliberately sent a spirit insect to follow them and noted down the address. Deacon Tianshang, do you want the juniors to accompany you to practice some Taoist techniques tonight? One of the Black Mountain sect disciples said obsequiously. Upon hearing this, Chu Tianshang smiled with satisfaction. Your name is Lu Wei, right? You know how to do things, I'll remember you. Tonight, when we practice the technique, you'll be the first to taste that bride, Chu Tianshang said. Everyone burst into laughter. However, Chu Tianshang's face suddenly turned fierce as he remembered something. That Qi Yuan from Seven-Colored Peak was really infuriating today. If it weren't for his good master, I would have made him understand what a real bloodbath and earthly hell look like. Deacon Tianshang, I heard that Qi Yuan is mentally challenged. Why bother with a fool? When we unify the cultivation world of Dashang, you can do whatever you want to that fool, someone chimed in. Nightfall was approaching. Just then, a rhythmic knock was heard at the gate. The people from the Black Mountain sect in the courtyard stopped their conversation. Chu Tianshang looked toward the gate and said, Lu Wei, go check it out. Lu Wei got up and walked toward the gate. When the door opened, a masked man appeared before everyone. The mask was simple, without any facial features, very plain. Lu Wei saw the visitor and couldn't help but show a mocking expression. What are you doing here? The masked man took out a kitchen knife and spoke slowly, his voice a bit hoarse. I am a bit hungry and plan to kill some fish to eat. Is he an idiot? Lu Wei was momentarily stunned. Chu Tianshang noticed the situation at the gate and called out, there's fish in the pond, let him in. Lu Wei smiled, Deacon Tianshang is kind, rewarding you with a fish to eat. However, someone inside the courtyard asked, Deacon Tianshang, why did you let him in? Chu Tianshang replied, it's boring here. Let's find some entertainment. The guy seems crazy, but his skin is quite fair. They were bold and very powerful, not worried about encountering difficult problems. Moreover, they did not sense any danger from the masked man. The masked man, holding the kitchen knife, entered the courtyard. Patriarch Beiji was cultivating in the inner courtyard, while the others looked at the masked man with mocking expressions. When the masked man got closer, Chu Tianshang suddenly stopped him. Take off your mask and let me see what you look like. The masked man hesitated for a moment before speaking slowly, seemingly reluctant. Do you really want to see? Haha, why not let us see? Are you horribly ugly? If you're ugly, I'll give you a new face. The Black Mountain sect members laughed heartily, the moonlight casting eerie shadows on their faces. Sigh, before I put on this mask today, I said that those who see my face will have no good end. What kind of bad end? Tell me, Chu Tianshang said. However, at that moment, something unexpected happened. The masked man raised the kitchen knife. A flash of white light, and before anyone could react, Chu Tianshang's large head fell to the ground. His face still held the smile from before, now frozen in that moment. Everyone present was stunned. It happened so fast, so suddenly. The masked man looked at Chu Tianshang's head thoughtfully and said, so, your blood disaster was destined to be at my hands. Meeting me was your doom. If there's a next life, be reborn as an ant. I'm kind-hearted and never use hot water to scald ant nests. The others were confused, angry, and shocked. Deacon Tianshang. How dare you, traitor! Though frightened, the disciples quickly reacted and attacked the masked man. Seeing this, the masked man smiled lightly. In games, monsters don't have health bars. You don't have health bars either. What's the difference between you and monsters? Oh, right, there is a difference. You scream, so I don't need to do the voice acting. Indeed, I am a genius. As the disciples looked on in confusion, anger, and fear, the masked man, holding the kitchen knife, moved like the most elegant dancer. The knife rose and fell. Summer 8 slashes. Ah! Run! Who are you? In an instant, most of the Black Mountain sect disciples present were dead. Only 4 or 5 remained, trembling with fear. At that moment, an enraged voice came from the inner courtyard. Insolent fool! Patriarch Beiji, who had been cultivating, finally woke up and attacked. The remaining Black Mountain sect disciples looked delighted, feeling they had survived a catastrophe. The masked man might be terrifying, but he was definitely not at the Yuan Dan stage. With Patriarch Beiji's shout, a Dan light shot toward the masked man. The masked man, seeing this, raised his kitchen knife and shouted, Heavenly Slash Sword Technique. This was the first time he had used this big skill in reality. Facing a tough opponent required a big move. He leapt into the air, the moonlight bathing his white robe. His outline glowed faintly with white light, making his figure appear ethereal, yet the outline remained solid. In Patriarch Beiji's eyes, it seemed as if a kitchen knife slashed out from the moon. An overwhelming, unimaginable blade light rushed toward Patriarch Beiji. For some reason, Patriarch Beiji felt fear. He was a Yuan Dan cultivator. The opponent was definitely not at the Yuan Dan stage. The blade light crushed everything in its path, instantly engulfing Patriarch Beiji's Dan light. In the next moment, the blade light shattered Patriarch Beiji's protective Dan light. The once imposing Patriarch Beiji was directly slain by a single slash. His round golden core turned into a small shattered ball, full of holes. The masked man was momentarily stunned. That's it. He knew he would win, but he didn't expect it to be so easy. Maybe he was too powerful. Maybe his knife was quite good too. Or perhaps, he looked at the small golden core on the ground and commented, his golden core is too small, and his Dan light is insufficient. It couldn't even withstand one slash. It seems that when forming a golden core in the future, it should be bigger, and the Dan light should be more. The masked man said this and looked up at the moon. At the very least, the Dan light should be as much as the moonlight, right? At this point, the remaining few disciples were trembling uncontrollably, some even running away. The masked man saw this and recited, I am a person from my homeland, and I love to kill entire families. With that, he slashed, killing the remaining disciples instantly. The masked man looked at the corpses on the ground, walked toward the pond slowly. Time to catch a fish to eat, he said, rolling up his pants, washing the kitchen knife by the pond, and then caught a black fish. Enhance your reading experience by removing ads for as low as $1. Remove ads from $1. The pond water was emerald green and clear as the masked man placed his hand into it. A few black fish immediately swam towards him, seemingly mistaking him for a feeder. The masked man grabbed one fish. It was slippery and sticky. The fish lay quietly in his hand, not struggling. The masked man suddenly smiled. I won't eat fish after all. With a wave of his hand, a stream of water rose, and the fish in his hand returned to the stream. Looking at the black fish, he said, go tell your mother that you are about to embark on a journey. He placed the black fish into a bamboo tube and fastened it to his waist. Gazing at the corpse on the ground, a sinister light flickered in his eyes. Should I loot the corpse? Jung Jonghae, dressed in black, wore an extremely grim expression. People from the Black Mountain sector staying at the Chen residence. The law enforcement disciple from the Golden Light Hall nodded, his eyes almost spitting fire. Yes. Jung Jonghae clenched a yin wood pearl, crushing it in his hand. The Black Mountain sect is too arrogant. Just half a month ago, Chu Tianshang had slaughtered the Chen family. It was supposed to be a day of joy for the family, but instead, dozens of lives were brutally taken overnight, including the bride. When Zheng Zhonghe arrived at the Chen residence, he witnessed a scene of utter carnage. The bride's father, travel-worn, had rushed to the Chen residence, kneeling and kowtowing to him repeatedly. The sight of the elderly man with white hair kneeling before him was unforgettable. Especially later, after Chu Tianshang had left, the stubborn father and his wife knelt outside the gates of the Shenguang sect for more than 10 days. Zheng Zhonghe remembered it clearly. And now, Chu Tianshang had chosen to stay at the Chen residence again. What was he planning? Let's go to the Chen residence. Zheng Zhonghe gritted his teeth. Initially, he planned to send some people to monitor the Chen residence to prevent Chu Tianshang from committing more atrocities. But after some thought, he decided to go himself. A group of people, under the cover of night, swiftly headed towards the Chen residence. Their expressions were all heavy with a sense of foreboding. They knew they were powerless against Chu Tianshang and the Black Mountain sect disciples. It was the same last time, and it would be the same this time. Blood. Suddenly, Zheng Zhonghe stopped, sniffing the air. Using a technique to enhance his sense of smell, he detected a strong scent of blood, coming from the direction of the Chen residence where Chu Tianshang and the Black Mountain sect disciples were staying. Worry grew in Zheng Zhonghe's eyes. Could it be that the Black Mountain sect disciples had committed another massacre in Wrong City? Hurry. The group quickened their pace towards the Chen residence. At that moment, the main gate creaked open, and a man in a strange mask and white robe emerged. Zheng Zhonghe's heart skipped a beat as he looked at the masked man, feeling wary. A member of the Black Mountain sect? No, it was Nati. The disciples of the Black Mountain sect always carried a faint scent of blood. But this masked man did not. How did he come out of the Chen residence? Where were the Black Mountain sect disciples? Senora Zheng Zhonghe hesitated before speaking. There are many Black Mountain sect disciples in the Chen residence. Please be careful, they are very vicious. Although the masked man might be an acquaintance of the Black Mountain sect, he still warned him to prevent any mishap. Qi Yuan recognized Zheng Zhonghe and spoke in a hoarse voice. The Black Mountain sect disciples were quite obedient. I wanted to eat fish, so I opened the door to catch some fish. Zheng Zhonghe was stunned. The other disciples of the Shen Guang sect were also bewildered, not knowing what to make of it. My wife is about to give birth. I have to go, said Qi Yuan before dashing off, leaving Zheng Zhonghe and the others in confusion. But soon, Zheng Zhonghe focused on the gate of the Chen residence. The closer they got, the stronger the smell of blood. He stepped forward. Knock, knock. The sound of knocking echoed in the quiet night, making it feel particularly eerie. Inside the Chen residence, there was no response, only silence. Zheng Zhonghe and his group exchanged glances, each harboring a dreadful thought. Suppressing his excitement, Zheng Zhonghe signaled, and they kicked the door open. What they saw made them gasp. In the courtyard of the Chen residence lay a dozen corpses. Zheng Zhonghe saw a Hida. It was Chu Tianshang's. Ancestor Bai Ji, that's Ancestor Bai Ji. Shen Guang sect disciple shouted in fear. Looking over, Zheng Zhonghe saw that the once imposing Ancestor Bai Ji had been cut in half, his eyes wide with disbelief. This was a real Yuan Dan cultivator with a golden core. Yet he was dead, just like that. Zheng Zhonghe laughed, exclaiming good. 3 times in a row. He thought of the strange man he had just met. Could it be him who killed them? Though he had his suspicions, seeing it firsthand was still shocking. Quickly regaining his composure, Zheng Zhonghe knew this matter was extremely serious. The Black Mountain sect wasn't too powerful, with only a few Yuan Dan cultivators. But behind them was the black chicken old demon. Set it on fire. Zheng Zhonghe ordered. The disciples of the Shen Guang sect hurriedly prepared torches and set the Chen residence ablaze. Zheng Zhonghe wanted to destroy the evidence, though he knew it might not be very effective. But it was better than doing nothing. Outside the Shen Guang sect. The sun had long set, and the moon was slowly rising. The Shen Guang sect felt chilly at night. An elderly man with white hair knelt outside the gates of the Shen Guang sect, his forehead covered in cold sweat. The old man, frail and at death's door, could die at any moment, perhaps from a fall or in his sleep. Old man, let's go back, said the old woman beside him. Though her hair was also white and disheveled, her attire suggested she had once been well kept. Kneel a bit longer. If a passing immortal sees us, they might be moved and avenge Qian. The old woman's eyes welled up with tears as she looked at her stubborn husband. In a world of cultivators, ordinary people's lives depended on fate. Living in the region controlled by the Black Mountain sect meant a tragic fate. Under the rule of a righteous sect like the Shen Guang sect, life was luckier. But in the eyes of the lofty immortals, weren't they still just ants? Facing Chu Tianshang, they had no power to avenge themselves and could only hope for the Shen Guang sect's help. Their situation was like those who petitioned the emperor for justice. Fortunately, no one drove them away here. At that moment, a clear, melodious voice rang out. Today I caught a blue flower fish. I'm in a good mood, so I brought you some fish soup. Qi Yuan appeared, holding 2 bowls of fish soup. The aroma was mouthwatering and particularly enticing. Seeing this, the old man's face lit up with excitement, and he was about to kowtow. Please, Immortal, avenge my poor daughter. Qi Yuan flicked his finger, a burst of spiritual power steadied the old man, stopping him from kowtowing. Qi Yuan handed the fish soup to the elderly couple. The sect is aware of your situation. Drink this soup and rest well. Qi Yuan turned away, feeling a bit introspective. The great man was right. If heaven has feelings, it will grow old, the true path is the rough one. Since ancient times, love leaves only empty regret, this regret continues endlessly. Justice delayed is not justice, my heart is at peace where it belongs. Qi Yuan muttered to himself. Finally, he sighed, I hope those who hear my words won't be misled by me. With that, he vanished. The elderly couple kept bowing, joy finally appearing in their eyes. An immortal had noticed them. Their persistence had not been in vain. Of course, many such efforts in the world end in nothing. Enhance your reading experience by removing ads for as low as $1. Remove ads from $1. Senior brother. A clear voice rang out. Qi Yuan put on his clothes and rubbed his sleepy eyes. Yawning, he glanced at the black fish in the fish tank and walked out of the courtyard. What's going on, this early in the morning? Outside the courtyard, Zhang Lingsu and Zhang Ran, two beautiful women, stood side by side. One was innocent and cute, the other pure and elegant. Qi Yuan felt a wave of comfort. Indeed, beautiful things always lift the spirits. Senior brother Qi Yuan, I have some good news to share with you. Zhang Ran's pretty face was lit with a smile. Yesterday, the disciples of the Black Mountain sect were killed by a mysterious master while staying overnight in Rong City. Chu Tianshang is dead, and Patriarch Bai Ji is also dead. Hearing this, Zhang Ran's face was full of excitement. Qi Yuan slapped his thigh. I didn't expect my divination skills to be this accurate. However, thinking of something, he corrected himself, I told you I was good at divination. I could see at a glance that that kid was destined for bloodshed. See, he didn't listen to me and died. Serves him right. Zhang Lingsu sighed helplessly. I really wonder which High Master did such a great deed. I heard that today, an elder from the Black Mountain sect, who happened to be nearby, arrived to investigate the scene. And last night, our Shengguanzong also had elders go to Rong City. Although the scene was burned, they have already gathered quite a few clues, Zhang Lingsu, who always kept up with the news in Shengguanzong, reported. Qi Yuan's heart tightened. What clues? The one who massacred the Black Mountain sect disciples was a masked man. The elders said that the mysterious masked man should be a sword cultivator, but to avoid revealing any traces of sword techniques, he deliberately used a knife to slaughter the Black Mountain sect disciples, Zhang Lingsu explained. What kind of knife? I don't know, Zhang Lingsu shook her head. Could it be a kitchen knife? Qi Yuan took out a knife and waved it. Zhang Lingsu covered her mouth and chuckled. How could it be? Zhang Ran's innocent face also broke into a smile, a hint of charm naturally flowing through it. If they were killed by a kitchen knife, that would be both frustrating and satisfying. Zhang Lingsu added, it is said that Bai Ji Laozu's protective Dan light was shattered with a single blow, his golden Dan crushed to death. This indicates that the knife must be a powerful magic weapon, not comparable to an ordinary kitchen knife. Qi Yuan immediately retorted, all things are equal. How can you look down on my knife? My knife can also chop off that guy's head with one strike. Zhang Ran smiled and said nothing. Zhang Lingsu continued to argue with Qi Yuan, if all things are equal, why do you insult dogs? Qi Yuan didn't continue on this topic. Holding the knife, he said worriedly, I have a kitchen knife, and the Black Mountain sect disciples died by a knife. Do you think the Black Mountain sect will suspect that I killed Chu Tianshang? Zhang Ran was stunned, trying to hold back a laugh despite not being professionally trained. Zhang Lingsu smiled lightly, senior brother, you're overthinking. You should focus on reaching the foundation establishment stage first. Don't say, base, without saying, base, let's be civilized. Qi Yuan quipped. Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. Zhang Ran and Zhang Lingsu were completely lost with Qi Yuan's train of thought. Qi Yuan, still worried, said, I kindly warned Chu Tianshang yesterday, but in the eyes of others, it might seem like we had a dispute. Do you think people might suspect that I held a grudge and went to kill them all at night? Zhang Ran and Zhang Lingsu were utterly speechless. Senior brother, don't worry, no one will suspect you. But if someone asks, you must testify for me. Say that I didn't go out last night and stayed on the 7-color peak with you two, drinking and playing games. All right, Zhang Lingsu sighed. Zhang Ran's mouth also curved in a smile. Clearly, with Chu Tianshang dead, her mood had improved significantly, and the gloom on her face had temporarily lifted. Qi Yuan, head lowered, still looked fearful. What if the Black Mountain sect doesn't believe your testimony and comes to capture me? Will Shengguanzong protect me? Zhang Lingsu was completely speechless. Senior brother, I think you should stop worrying about yourself. You should be like us, worrying about that masked man. After all, he's facing the Black Mountain sect and the Black Chicken Demon. After a bit more conversation, Zhang Lingsu and Zhang Ran left. Zhang Lingsu still had a look of helplessness on her face. My senior brother, he's a good person, but his personality, as you can see, is quirky and eccentric. Zhang Ran smiled sweetly. Actually, I find senior brother Qi Yuan quite interesting. Sigh, he really is interesting. No worries or troubles. Zhang Lingsu sighed, thinking of the heavy burden in her own heart that she couldn't let go of. Senior brother Qi Yuan, no worries or troubles. Qi Yuan was alone in his room, pacing back and forth. His face was full of worry. I was careless last night. Just wearing a mask isn't perfect. I should have dressed as a woman to hide my gender. Oh no, they know the killer used a knife. What if they connect it to me? Would the Black Mountain sect come after me? The more Qi Yuan thought, the more worried he became, and the angrier he got. Even though he had done things almost flawlessly, what if there was a congenital sage in the Black Mountain sect who figured out it was him? He had already imagined the elders of the Black Mountain sect coming to Shengguanzong, laying siege to his peak. He, alone, weak and helpless. The more he thought, the more upset he became, his face turning red with anger. By the long pavilion, by the ancient road, in the evening, the green grass sky. The Black Mountain sect really has no shame. I was just representing the moon to eliminate some evil, right? And now they team up to bully a 229-month-old kid. Is there no justice, no reason? Too much bullying. 30 years east of the river, 30 years west, don't bully the poor. No, I need to take revenge. Qi Yuan sharpened his knife, put on a hat to cover his head, and smeared soot on his face for disguise. Looking at himself in the mirror, Qi Yuan felt a bit more secure. He tucked the kitchen knife at his waist and sneaked out of the seven-color peak. Not long after, Zhang Lingsu arrived outside Qi Yuan's courtyard. "Senior brother, are you there?" She called out, but there was no response. Strange, senior brother was just here. When did he leave? How did I not notice? She had just reached the foundation establishment stage last night, becoming an official foundation establishment cultivator. Her perception had significantly increased. If her senior brother had left, she should have sensed it. Very strange. She looked at the glass water tank, noticing the swimming black fish. Is this the fish senior brother caught last night? It doesn't seem like a wild fish. She pondered for a moment but didn't think much more of it and left the courtyard. At this moment, in the Shengguanzong library, Qi Yuan was on the third floor, hiding in a corner, secretly looking up information on the strength of the Black Mountain sect. Enhance your reading experience by removing ads for as low as $1. Remove ads from $1. Qi Yuan was seriously reading a book. The worry on his brow gradually relaxed. The Black Mountain sect is just this. Originally, the Black Mountain sect was quite notorious in the Great Shang Kingdom. Qi Yuan had thought that the Black Mountain sect's strength was absolutely formidable. However, now it seemed that the main strength of the Black Mountain sect actually only belonged to the third tier in the Great Shang Kingdom. The first tier was the three major immortal sects. The second tier had at least one nascent soul combat strength, or methods capable of resisting a nascent soul expert's attacks. But the Black Mountain sect had neither. Within the Black Mountain sect, there were only 7 golden core cultivators. Among the 7 golden core cultivators, the strongest was the sect master, who was only at the mid-golden core stage. The others were merely at the early golden core stage. This level of strength only placed them in the third tier in the Great Shang Kingdom. In other words, without the Black Chicken Demon, the Black Mountain sect is just this. The more Qi Yuan thought, the more reassured he felt. His knife had already awakened its intelligence. If there were a late-stage golden core with fully developed protective light, he would be somewhat apprehensive. But just a mid-golden core, and several early golden cores with low-grade golden cores at that. His eyes lit up, and he sneered, with such strength, they still dare to trouble me. They are courting death. Strike first to gain the upper hand, delay and you'll be at a disadvantage. They certainly wouldn't have expected that I would cross time and space to kill them in advance, nipping this cause and effect in the bud. Qi Yuan began planning. The Black Chicken Demon was not in the Black Mountain sect, so if he moved quickly enough, he could take revenge and then run away. It's a pity that I'm still too weak, otherwise I wouldn't need to avoid the Black Chicken Demon. I could just chop off his head with one strike. Black Chicken Demon, I'll remember you. If only I could really travel through time, I would definitely kill him when he was still a chicken make chicken soup. Or I could dance on his grave after he dies of old age. Qi Yuan couldn't help but think of a female prodigy in the Go world on Blue Star. That female prodigy was a strong person who understood the rules of time. She had won against the best female Go player of the past in the present, she had won against the best female Go player of the present in the past. She was respectfully referred to as punching the old folks home in the south, and kicking the kindergarten in the north. Senior brother Qi Yuan, what are you doing here? At this moment, a familiar voice rang out. It was Zheng Zhonghe, staring at Qi Yuan with a strange expression. Upon arriving at the third floor of the library, Zheng Zhonghe had noticed Qi Yuan. Qi Yuan's attire was strange, and his behavior was sneaky, not like a good person. Hiding in the corner, it was hard not to attract attention. Zheng Zhonghe had watched for a while before confirming that this was indeed the eldest disciple of the seven-color peak, senior brother Qi Yuan. Qi Yuan was startled upon seeing Zheng Zhonghe. It was as if a couple doing something guilty in the library had been discovered. However, he quickly calmed down. Yes, I'm here to look up some information. Senior brother, are you also looking up information on the Black Mountain sect? If you could, please let me have the materials once you're done. I need to take them out of the library and give them to several elders, Zheng Zhonghe said seriously. No problem. Qi Yuan put down the books, then suddenly asked, what is written here should be true, right? The Black Chicken Demon is not in the Black Mountain sect. Zheng Zhonghe found Qi Yuan's question strange but answered truthfully, the Black Chicken Demon's dojo is in the 10,000 Demon Ridge, 1,000 miles away from the Black Mountain sect. It is said that the Black Chicken Demon is currently seeking to break through to the late nascent soul stage and should be in seclusion for a while. That's good. Qi Yuan felt reassured. Zheng Zhonghe looked puzzled. May I ask why senior brother is investigating the Black Mountain sect? Qi Yuan looked at Zheng Zhonghe, then took out a kitchen knife. Do you know what this is? Senior brother's pet. This knife was well known to Zheng Zhonghe. He often saw Qi Yuan walking the knife. I heard that the Black Mountain sect's Chu Tianshang and Bai Ji Laozu were killed by a mysterious expert's knife. And I also use a knife, so I'm afraid the Black Mountain sect might misunderstand and think I am that mysterious expert. So, I need to prepare in advance and see what strong individuals are in the Black Mountain sect, Qi Yuan said seriously. Zheng Zhonghe. He coughed and finally said, senior brother is really cautious. How could the people of the Black Mountain sect suspect you? Zheng Zhonghe found it absurd. But thinking about senior brother Qi Yuan's usual thought process, he could understand. After all, in the entire Shengguanzong, no, in the entire Great Shang, Qi Yuan was the only one who dared to call the master of the seven-color peak his wife. Zheng Zhonghe left with the books. Qi Yuan, tilting his head, pondered, looks like I need to find an excuse to leave the sect. The Black Mountain sect was quite far from Shengguanzong, not like Rong City, which could be reached within a few hours. Leaving required a report, as he was the eldest disciple of a peak, not an ordinary disciple. Dong Xian was holding a pile of bamboo slips, walking quickly within Shengguanzong. Before coming to Shengguanzong, he had lost all his cultivation and had voluntarily broken off his engagement with his fiancé copyrightee. It was precisely because of these actions that he avoided the power struggle and came to Shengguanzong. Just a few days ago, the remnant soul within him began to awaken. The remnant soul was of a powerful artifact refiner, harmed by treacherous people, leaving only a wisp of remnant soul that entered Dong Xian's body. Recently, the remnant soul had been guiding his cultivation and teaching him the secrets of artifact refining. Yesterday, under the guidance of the remnant soul, he had even found several precious artifact refining materials at a market. Old artifact, if the Black Chicken Demon reaches the late nascent soul stage, will the entire Great Shang fall into chaos? Dong Xian asked the remnant soul within him. Old artifact chuckled, why are you, a mere chi refinement cultivator, worrying about such things? Are you still thinking about your power and influence? Dong Xian was silent for a long time before replying, if I could, it would also help you recover your strength, old artifact. If you can seize power, that's naturally the best. But your foundation is too weak, and your mother's family is not strong. It's better to focus on cultivation and follow the proper steps. With my artifact refining techniques, barring any accidents, you could reach the nascent soul stage within a few hundred years. Strength is the fundamental thing, old artifact advised earnestly. Dong Xian's identity was special. He was actually an unappreciated prince of the Great Shang Kingdom. Now, the emperor of Great Shang was old and foolish, with not much life left. The various princes were ambitious, vying for power and coveting the throne. Among the many princes, Dong Xian had the weakest background and foundation. So, recently, he had voluntarily broken off his engagement and retreated to Shengguanzong to avoid the strife. Suddenly, old artifact exclaimed, who is that? Dong Xian looked over quickly and saw a strangely dressed man walking on the main road. But he still recognized him. The eldest disciple of the seven-color peak, Qi Yuan. Dong Xian didn't know why old artifact was interested in him. Did you see the kitchen knife at his waist? It must be something special. It's a pity I can't extend my divine sense, otherwise, I would definitely find out what's special about that kitchen knife. Quickly, buy that kitchen knife. Old artifact urged urgently. Dong Xian was stunned. If it were just an ordinary kitchen knife and Qi Yuan an ordinary Shengguanzong disciple, he might be able to buy it. But that's not the case. Following Old Artifact's command, he approached, stealing himself. Enhance your reading experience by removing ads for as low as $1. Remove ads from $1. Greetings, Senior Brother Qi Yuan. Dong Xian stepped forward, showing respect upon seeing Qi Yuan. Is it you? Qi Yuan glanced at Dong Xian and couldn't help but take a half step back. People like Dong Xian, who seem to have a protagonist destiny, are better kept at a distance. In the TV shows and anime Qi Yuan watched, whenever a supporting character suddenly had a good moment with the protagonist, it usually meant they were about to be killed, triggering the protagonist's power surge. Many shows often had comments like, "Poor old guy." Qi Yuan didn't want to be that old guy and didn't want to be killed. Senior Brother Qi Yuan, I have an impertinent request. I'm not sure if I should say it. Dong Xian said. Qi Yuan quickly replied, you shouldn't say it. This immediately blocked what Dong Xian was about to say. At this moment, Qi Yuan took a closer look at Dong Xian. He's just an ordinary young man, but his soul has awakened, and he's now an artifact refiner. This artifact refiner has taken a liking to your kitchen knife. Seeing that Dong Xian had no reaction, Qi Yuan patted him on the shoulder and said, young man, there's a strange fire in the back kitchen of the Divine Medicine Peak. I think it suits you well. After saying that, Qi Yuan left directly. While walking away, he concealed the aura of his knife. The awakened soul had taken a liking to his knife, which made Qi Yuan wary. Meanwhile, Dong Xian stood there, puzzled. A strange fire. What's that? At this moment, the voice of the old artifact spirit, Qi Lao, came through. You should be cautious with Qi Yuan. He's not as simple as he seems. When I got close to him just now, I detected that his knife had traces of blood on it. Blood? Isn't that normal? Blood of a core formation cultivator, Qi Lao said. Dong Xian was stunned. A core formation cultivator. That kitchen knife had killed a core formation cultivator. One must know that core formation cultivators in the Great Shang Kingdom are akin to royal consecrates. That seemingly ordinary kitchen knife had stained the blood of a core formation cultivator. Did the peak master of the seven-colored peak reward Qi Yuan with it? No wonder Qi Lao said the knife was extraordinary. Qi Lao continued, you can only make friends with Qi Yuan, not enemies. He left out one crucial detail, the blood was fresh. Dong Xian couldn't help but smile, why would I have any reason to be enemies with the first disciple of a major peak? At the seven-colored peak, Zhang Lingsu looked curious. Senior brother, are you leaving the sect? Qi Yuan nodded, I've already spoken to the sect master. He agreed to let me go out and establish my foundation. Establish your foundation? Why do you need to leave the sect for that? Zhang Lingsu was puzzled. You can't just read 1,000 books, you need to travel 10,000 miles. Zhang Lingsu was stunned for a moment, senior brother, sometimes you say things that make sense. But, I don't think you're just going out to establish your foundation. Sigh, Qi Yuan sighed, your senior brother here is escaping for his life, seeking a chance to survive. Qi Yuan felt he was similar to the tragic figure Nangong Daxian, who dared to risk his life for immortality. Zhang Lingsu was speechless, senior brother, speak plainly. Seeing her reaction, Qi Yuan said, aren't I afraid that the Black Mountain sect will suspect I killed Chu Tianshang and the others? What if the black chicken old demon comes with people to our peak, and I get blocked here? I'd be dead. It's safer to hide outside and come back when things have calmed down. Zhang Lingsu was at a loss for words, senior brother, you'd better leave quickly. I'm afraid I'll lose my mind if I stay with you too long. Zhang Lingsu looked at him with disdain. But then she remembered something and reminded him, senior brother, be careful while you're out. The Black Mountain sect might do something desperate and really come after you. Great minds think alike. I also feel that the Black Mountain sect is ambitious and greedy. Qi Yuan said with agreement. Zhang Lingsu felt helpless. Senior brother, if only you were mute, you'd definitely be an exceptionally handsome man. But once you open your mouth, it's over. Of course, it wasn't Qi Yuan's voice that was unpleasant, it was the absurd content of his words. There are still 2 vacant spots in the top-tier section. If anyone wants to upgrade their seat, hurry up. It only costs 1 spirit stone. On the spirit boat, a female cultivator at the Qi refinement stage reminded the passengers in the lower-tier section in a crisp voice. This was a flying boat heading to Wushui City. Wushui City, located in the far north of the Great Shang Kingdom, was a rather chaotic place. After all, Wushui City was near the Black Mountain sect's territory. Generally, not many righteous cultivators were willing to go there. However, Wushui City produced a type of blood crystal. These blood crystals were valuable and could aid some cultivators in their cultivation. So many rogue cultivators, and even disciples from major sects, would go to Wushui City to collect blood crystals and improve their strength. Now, Qi Yuan was sitting on the spirit boat. This spirit boat was a Foundation establishment artifact. But unlike typical Foundation establishment artifacts, it was built entirely for speed. Hearing the attendant's reminder, Qi Yuan was tempted. After his recent spoils, he was no longer poor and wanted to try the top-tier, first-class, section. But then he thought, he had important business to do and needed to stay low-key, so he dismissed the idea. Fellow Taoist, are you also going to Wushui City to dig for blood crystals? You seem to have an extraordinary bearing. You must be a disciple of a major sect, right? At this moment, a beautiful woman nearby struck up a conversation with Qi Yuan. The beautiful woman was dressed elegantly, with her hair styled in a cascading bun, adorned with a peachwood hairpin. She wore a simple yet elegant long robe in a pale blue color, exuding a gentle and dignified aura. Her attire was simple, but it was clear that she was well off, a wealthy lady. Qi Yuan couldn't help but feel flattered. Even after using disguising techniques to lower his attractiveness by 90%, people could still see his inherent handsomeness. I'm just a humble rogue cultivator, Qi Yuan said, now playing the role of a rogue cultivator. Being a rogue cultivator is quite admirable, too. It takes a lot of determination to get things done. When I was younger, I was also a rogue cultivator. Now that I'm older, I've joined a sect because I prefer a more stable life, the beautiful woman said, reminiscing. Sister, you look like you're in the prime of your life, Qi Yuan said. After all, when he was young, he didn't know the value of older women and mistakenly cherished young girls. Many scoundrels would undoubtedly prefer a beautiful and wealthy woman like the one in front of him. Qi Yuan's great skill was dominant strength, but he hadn't awakened his inner scoundrel attributes. You really know how to talk, the beautiful woman laughed, her voice like tinkling bells. Young people like you are full of energy. She looked at Qi Yuan's tall and sturdy figure, as if recalling her past. Fellow Taoist, be careful of the Black Mountain sect when you go to Wushui City to dig for blood crystals. In Wushui City, offending the city lord is better than offending the Black Mountain sect. Offending the city lord might only get you killed, but offending the Black Mountain sect could get your entire family killed. The beautiful woman's eyes showed a trace of fear and disgust when mentioning the Black Mountain sect. The Black Mountain sect is so vicious. Killing entire families. Qi Yuan lowered his voice, seemingly agitated. If the Black Mountain sect knew he killed Chu Tianshang, would they go to Blue Star and kill his whole family? That would be horrible, but then Qi Yuan thought, what family does he have? He's all alone on the household registry. So pitiful. When people curse him online, he doesn't even have a family to retort with. The Black Mountain sect is powerful and domineering. We have to give 1/10 of the blood crystals we dig to the city lord and another 2/10 to the Black Mountain sect. Sometimes, even more than 2/10. The beautiful woman gritted her teeth, clearly angry. Qi Yuan was furious. Wushui City isn't under the Black Mountain sect's jurisdiction. How can they be so arrogant? They're worse than capitalists. They should be hanged on the streetlights. The beautiful woman quickly lowered her voice. Fellow Taoist, keep your voice down. If the Black Mountain sect hears you, it could spell trouble. Qi Yuan thought to himself, I'm not being selfish. I'm not just avenging myself. I'm carrying out justice. He brainwashed himself, believing he stood on the moral high ground, looking down on the Black Mountain sect. He and the beautiful woman enjoyed a pleasant conversation during their journey on the spirit boat. Of course, this had nothing to do with Qi Yuan's emotional intelligence and everything to do with his looks and youth. After about 5 hours, the spirit boat landed. Many cultivators disembarked. The beautiful woman extended an invitation, if you have no place to stay, you can spend the night at my place. Qi Yuan looked at the sky and said, no thanks. He needed to act quickly to catch the last spirit boat back. He wouldn't stay here for the night. After killing, he needed to flee immediately. Returning to the crime scene often leads to getting caught, as seasoned killers know. At this moment, a somewhat displeased voice called out. Mother, I'm here. A young woman in a fine palace dress approached, accompanied by a Foundation establishment female cultivator. The palace-dressed young woman looked at Qi Yuan with a hint of hostility. Qi Yuan was baffled. "Farewell, Lu Piao," Qi Yuan said to the beautiful woman before turning to leave. The palace-dressed young woman walked up and took the beautiful woman's arm. "Mother, who was that?" The beautiful woman smiled. "Xiaoro, you are too wary of everyone. That was just a rogue cultivator I met by chance, coming to Wushui City to dig for blood crystals. I thought he had a good demeanor, so I chatted with him. You're getting older, you should find a Taoist companion." The palace-dressed young woman's vigilance faded, and she sighed, "With such a large blood crystal mine to manage, where do I find the time? Besides, mother, I'm not some celestial maiden, but I won't just pair up with any rogue cultivator I meet on the street. I have to meet with other mine owners and go to the Black Mountain sect in an hour." Mentioning the Black Mountain sect, the palace-dressed young woman's eyes clouded with worry. Enhance your reading experience by removing ads for as low as $1. Remove ads from $1. When Lu Piao heard her daughter's words, she felt both headache and heartache. Cultivators in the Black Mountain sect are not good people. If you were dealing with other righteous sects, it would be fine. But dealing with the Black Mountain sect, you, being so beautiful, will definitely encounter significant trouble. Especially since the Black Mountain sect has increased the blood crystal mine's share, it's not easy to resolve. So, I thought you should get married early and let your husband handle this kind of thing. We need to find someone powerful. That weakling just now, if he encountered someone from the Black Mountain sect and argued over the blood crystal mine's share, could he negotiate any benefits for us?" The young woman said proudly. "You were just wary of others, and now you're saying others are weak. Ah, you always have a point." Lu Piao knew her daughter's personality very well, feeling quite helpless. The Black Mountain sect, in the entire Great Shang Kingdom, was merely a second or third-rate sect without any nascent soul foundation, not even a late core formation expert. But the Black Mountain sect's sect master recognized the powerful black chicken old demon as his foster father. The status of the Black Mountain sect rose significantly. In the Great Shang Kingdom, the Black Mountain sect became increasingly domineering. Within the Mountain Gate, there were hundreds of disciples, over a dozen stewards, and several elders. But these people had an extremely notorious reputation in the surrounding area. It could be said that when an ordinary Black Mountain sect disciple went out to their territory, the common folk had to kneel and kowtow. The Black Mountain sect had become a figure to frighten children at night. Inside the Black Mountain sect, Elder Yu Linglong, covered in a black veil, couldn't hide her graceful figure. Half lying on a white jade chair, she exhaled orchid-scented breath. "Have you found out the identity of the masked man?" A disciple knelt on the ground, not daring to look up at this elder. This elder was the #1 beauty of the Black Mountain sect. She was also the woman favored by the black chicken old demon. Of course, the black chicken old demon hadn't touched her yet, rumored to be planning to cultivate her to the nascent soul stage before making her his Tao companion and pursuing dual cultivation together. In the Black Mountain sect, Yu Linglong's status was higher than the sect master. The masked man killed people with a knife, which was actually swordsmanship. "Xuanzhong Mountain is highly suspicious," the disciple said. "Elder Whirlwind has now returned, and the sect master has summoned all disciples and elders outside, preparing to pressure Xuanzhong Mountain." Hearing this, Yu Linglong's smile became more charming. It seems that the black chicken old demon is really about to step into the late nascent soul stage. The disciple kneeling below pretended not to hear Yu Linglong addressing the black chicken old demon in such a way. At this moment, there seemed to be the sound of clothes slipping. Yu Linglong opened her vermilion lips and said to the disciple below, "Do you dare to climb up here?" The disciple's heart wavered. He knew Yu Linglong was dissatisfied with the black chicken old demon, but he hurriedly refused. "I don't dare." Yu Linglong laughed, patting her chest. "You have the desire but not the courage. Come here, I won't tell anyone." Cold sweat appeared on the disciple's forehead. He didn't want to stay here any longer, fearing he might really lose control. Between beauty and life, he knew which was more important. No matter how much Elder Yu Linglong disliked the black chicken old demon, she was not someone he could touch. However, at this moment, a loud noise suddenly came from outside. The disciple's face changed, and he hurriedly left. "I'll go check." He didn't want to stay here any longer. At this moment, outside the Black Mountain sect's mountain gate, Qi Yuan held a large sword. On the surface, it was a large sword, but in reality, it was a kitchen knife. Qi Yuan had wrapped it in metal to make it look like a treasured sword. He walked across the bone bridge, killing 5 disciples guarding the bridge with one slash. He also cut off the only entrance bridge to the sect. Except for the Foundation establishment and core formation cultivators, ordinary disciples would be trapped in the Black Mountain sect, unable to leave. State your name, thief. How dare you cause trouble in our Black Mountain sect? Several Foundation establishment stewards appeared, looking fierce and angry. They were furious, as it was always the Black Mountain sect causing trouble for others, and now someone dared to come to their sect to cause trouble. Black Mountain sect, you killed my whole family. I have painstakingly cultivated for 100 years, and now my skills are complete. Today, I will annihilate your Black Mountain sect. Qi Yuan shouted, fabricating an identity for himself. So, it's one of the survivors. The black-bearded steward wasn't surprised. The Black Mountain sect often exterminated entire families, so survivors were common. 100 years ago, you managed to escape. If you had lived in hiding, you might have enjoyed a peaceful old age. Now that you've returned to the Black Mountain sect to die, it's unwise. Your bloodline will end today. The black-bearded steward roared. Qi Yuan was stunned. He was too into his role. You dare to cut off my bloodline. His eyes turned red. You all must die. As he spoke, he swung his large sword horizontally. Qi Yuan was originally at the peak of Qi refinement. In the game, his strength continued to grow and fed back into reality. Though the feedback strength was less than 1%, it was enough for Qi Yuan to surpass all at the peak of Qi refinement. He could even easily kill a Foundation establishment cultivator. With the modified technique, the knife developed intelligence. Holding the knife, Qi Yuan's strength reached a new level. He could cut off a core formation cultivator's head with one slash. Let alone these Foundation establishment stewards. The gale created by the large sword directly smashed the 3 Foundation establishment stewards against the mountain gate's stone. Spurt. The Foundation establishment stewards spat blood, their hearts shattered. Qi Yuan raised the large sword and slashed the Black Mountain sect's mountain gate. 100 years ago, you killed my whole family. Today, I will annihilate your entire sect. Qi Yuan's voice was like rolling thunder, soaring into the sky. Inside the Black Mountain sect, seeing the fall of several stewards, the disciples trembled with fear. This was too formidable. If they stepped forward to stop him, it would be suicide. Only the core formation elders could handle this. Sure enough, as Qi Yuan split open the mountain gate, 2 core formation elders appeared together inside the Black Mountain sect. Their faces were filled with endless fury. The spiritual energy in the space began to stir. All the disciples who saw this were invigorated. Those Foundation establishment stewards and disciples also stepped forward to besiege Qi Yuan. Seeing this, Qi Yuan didn't hesitate. The large sword swept across. The powerful wind instantly killed dozens of disciples on the spot. The core formation elders in the sky were furious. It was the first time they had seen someone specifically targeting disciples. However, seeing Qi Yuan's moves, they noticed something. Did you kill Ancestor Baiji? The core formation elder, Elder Whirlwind, had returned from outside and examined Ancestor Baiji's body, knowing quite a bit. Qi Yuan looked at Elder Whirlwind, swinging the large sword. Since you figured it out, I can't let you live. He flew into the sky. Seeing this, the 2 core formation elders had a suspicious look in their eyes. Why don't you have a golden core in your body? Are you not a core formation cultivator? Qi Yuan's answer was the large sword. Enhance your reading experience by removing ads for as low as $1. Remove ads from $1. My golden core is in the sky. Qi Yuan shouted, wielding his great sword with a fierce downward slash. Elder Whirlwind felt a tremendous threat and dared not face the sword head-on. His heart was even more shocked. You're not a golden core cultivator. Finally, he realized something. The shock in his heart was even more intense. Not a golden core, yet overpowering a golden core. Is there really such a monstrous Foundation establishment cultivator in the world? No, I am a golden core cultivator. I have a golden core. Qi Yuan quickly argued. It had to be said, the 3-way battle looked rather comical, reminiscent of a schoolyard brawl. The magical duel did not attract the attention of the Black Mountain sect disciples, but the content of the argument did. Qi Yuan wielded his great sword, thrashing the 2 opponents. In less than 10 breaths, he completely gained the upper hand. Suddenly, Elder Whirlwind cast a spell, seemingly realizing something, his eyes widening. He shouted, run, this isn't a human. Yes, I'm not Foundation establishment. I'm Golden Core. Qi Yuan naturally would not give the Golden Core elders a chance to escape. With a downward slash, he split the 2 golden core elders into pieces, without even leaving them a chance to be whole. Everything happened too quickly. The 2 golden core elders had barely fought Qi Yuan for 10 breaths before being slain. The Black Mountain sect had 7 golden core cultivators, including the sect leader. With the Bai Ji old ancestor dead and now 2 more slain, only 4 golden core elders remained. The loss to the Black Mountain sect was nearly half. At this moment, other strong members of the Black Mountain sect, no longer merely spectators or having emerged from seclusion, arrived at the mountain gate. Leading them was the Black Mountain sect's leader, Black Wind Taoist. He wore a gray robe, had a youthful appearance with white hair, looking quite old despite his age. Yu Linglong stood beside Black Wind Taoist, curiously gazing at Qi Yuan, occasionally casting flirtatious glances. The other 2 golden core elders looked solemn, staring intently at Qi Yuan. Black Wind Taoist looked at the ruins and remained unmoved. Attacking our mountain gate is going too far. Though we are a small sect, Bai Ji old ancestor is my adoptive father. If you leave now, we will let this matter rest. In the past, our Black Mountain sect exterminated your family. Now, you have killed 3 of our golden core elders. We can call it even. Black Wind Taoist could be flexible, showing weakness to Qi Yuan. Qi Yuan, however, did not move, assessing the Black Mountain sect members, contemplating how to quickly eliminate them. Seeing Qi Yuan's silence, Black Wind Taoist continued, if you persist, our Black Mountain sect isn't a pushover. The outcome is uncertain, and do you know that Bai Ji old ancestor is my adoptive father? Qi Yuan raised an eyebrow. You killed my entire family and now threaten me. Do you think I'm just a pushover? Black Wind Taoist was stunned. Beside him, Yu Linglong laughed charmingly. Little brother, you're quite interesting. If you're willing to spare the Black Mountain sect, I would be willing to spend a night of passion with you. Black Wind Taoist frowned but said nothing. Qi Yuan shouted, using a honey trap, how despicable. Today, I will wipe you all out. Qi Yuan had no interest in arguing further, directly attacking. Arguing was boring and he wasn't good at it. In arguments, he never won. Black Wind Taoist's expression turned cold. You seek death. Black Wind Taoist did not hesitate. He took out a formation flag, throwing it into the air. Form the array. Instantly, he activated the sect's grand formation. All the Qi condensation disciples turned pale, and the Foundation establishment enforcers also looked pale. In contrast, the 4 golden core elders appeared more robust, their auras growing stronger. The grand formation of the Black Mountain sect drained the cultivation of all disciples and enforcers, channeling it to the golden core elders, instantly boosting their power. Qi Yuan saw this, and with a forceful swing of his great sword, Black Wind Taoist remained calm. Now feeling as if he had reached the late golden core stage, he let out a round, shiny golden core. Take this strike. Black Wind Taoist attacked with his strongest golden core strike. The golden core was the most precious item for a golden core cultivator, the essence of their Taoist arts. Using this technique, Black Wind Taoist seemed invincible. My golden core is of the middle 3rd grade, a heavy iron golden core. It is the most sturdy. Even a nascent soul cultivator cannot easily shatter it. Your techniques are exquisite, your lethal moves abundant, and your combat experience surpasses ours. If we fight in a prolonged battle, we will surely be picked off one by one. So, I use my golden core to overpower you. Black Wind Taoist's greatest advantage was his higher cultivation realm. So, he used the most reliable move to suppress Qi Yuan with the heavy iron golden core. It was a nearly unbeatable tactic against lower realm cultivators. However, seeing the golden core, Qi Yuan's eyes lit up. Ida's not even as big as a football, and you think you can suppress me? Had Black Wind Taoist fought Qi Yuan fairly, the battle might have dragged on. But presenting the golden core was a fatal mistake. Qi Yuan's blade specialized in slicing through golden cores. Qi Yuan performed the heavenly slash sword technique again. With the essence of the sun and moon converging in him, the enormous great sword shattered, revealing a butcher knife. Black Wind Taoist was dumbfounded. A butcher knife? He didn't have much time to process it, as a dire premonition surged within him. He instinctively tried to retract the golden core, but it was too late. The knife sliced through the golden core like a hot knife through butter, as if it were cutting through an egg. Black Wind Taoist, his aura collapsing, was on the brink of death. Impossible. Black Wind Taoist couldn't believe it. His heavy iron golden core, equivalent to a mountain in weight, was cut apart. Qi Yuan coldly remarked, "It's not that I'm too strong, it's that your golden core is too small." Reflecting, Qi Yuan thought, in the future, if he forged a golden core, it must be large, not like Black Wind Taoist's egg-sized core, easily split in one cut. With that, Qi Yuan, holding the butcher knife, no longer concealed his power. Kill. He charged at the remaining 3 golden core elders. The intense battle saw no regard for the lives of the disciples, who were swiftly slaughtered. Within 10 breaths, Qi Yuan beheaded another golden core elder with the heavenly slash sword technique. One remaining elder, heavily injured, was betrayed by Yu Linglong, who absorbed his golden core to restore her cultivation. Now, only Yu Linglong remained among the golden core elders. Covered in blood, her attire in tatters, exposing her smooth skin, she pleaded with Qi Yuan, "Spare my life, please." Humph. Qi Yuan ignored her, slashing relentlessly. Yu Linglong, in desperation, confessed, "I possess the purple bamboo body. Eve remained pure, keeping my virginity. Bai Ji old ancestor coveted my purity, investing resources in me to cultivate me to the nascent soul stage, to then dual cultivate with me, reaching the legendary Purple Mansion realm. If you spare me, I'll serve you and help you achieve the Purple Mansion destiny." Qi Yuan paused. Purple Mansion, seeing hope, Yu Linglong continued, "If you engage with me now, you can reach the nascent soul stage today. If you wait until I reach the nascent soul stage, you could enter the Purple Mansion realm by spending a night with me." Qi Yuan, contemplating, realized, "So, you're the reserve of Bai Ji old ancestor. I can't let you live. A nascent soul stage Bai Ji old ancestor is already terrifying enough, let alone one in the Purple Mansion stage." With that, he swiftly decapitated Yu Linglong, shattering her golden core. Yu Linglong was dead beyond recovery. Qi Yuan, relieved, said, "Lucky she mentioned her purple bamboo body. Otherwise, if I had left, Bai Ji old ancestor might have revived her body, using it to step into the Purple Mansion realm." Pouring special corpse-dissolving liquid on her body, Qi Yuan turned her into a puddle, then burned it dry, collecting the residue into his storage bag. This way, Bai Ji old ancestor can't obtain her purity. Unsettled, he decided, not safe enough. Burning the remnants again, he ensured complete destruction, then turned to the Black Mountain sect, eyes full of killing intent. Some disciples still live, I must finish them off and loot their library before fleeing. With the sect formation draining the disciples, and enforcers, cultivation, most turned into dry corpses, but a few survived. Qi Yuan would leave no one behind. Enhance your reading experience by removing ads for as low as $1. Remove ads from $1. After finishing off the last of his enemies, Qi Yuan ransacked the entire Haitian sect like a whirlwind. Due to limited time, he focused on the library. To Qi Yuan, cultivation methods were the most important. The vast knowledge accumulated from countless methods, combined with his ability to see hidden information, allowed him to continually refine the Qi Yuan Sutra and forge his own path to immortality. It's time to leave, Qi Yuan thought, estimating the time and quickly departing from Haitian sect. Duan Qinru, dressed in a simple, elegant outfit, was seated in a young rabbit carriage. The young rabbit, a creature with 3 heads and 8 legs, could travel both on land and in the air. It was very stable, making it an excellent choice for pulling carriages. Hey everyone, when negotiating with Haitian sect this time, we must stand united and not back down. Giving 2/10 of our blood crystals to Haitian sect is our limit, we can't give more. Said a burly man. In the young rabbit carriage were more than 10 people, all mine owners from Wushui City. Recently, Haitian sect demanded that the amount of blood crystals turned over by the mine owners be increased from 2/10 to 3/10. This demand infuriated the mine owners. Wushui City was not under Haitian sect's jurisdiction. Paying 2/10 was already unreasonable, and now they demanded 3/10, which was outrageous. Sai, Lao Wang, what good is our united front? Haitian sect has Heiji Laoyao backing them. Even the 3 major cultivation sects have to give them face. How can we, a bunch of rogue cultivators, fight against Haitian sect? I'm afraid if we don't increase the tribute, we won't make it back to Wushui City, an elderly cultivator said, his voice filled with helplessness. Everyone's faces turned solemn. They knew that Haitian sect was ruthless enough to carry out such threats. The elders of Haitian sect were notorious for their cruelty. Even the seemingly delicate Yu Linglong had practiced killing as part of her cultivation before being taken as Heiji Laoyao's concubine. As for Haitian sect's disciples, many were robbers before joining, known for their brutal nature. Sai, if only a sword immortal would come and wipe out Haitian sect, that would be great. Someone mused. Even the three major sects can't do anything about Haitian sect, where would a sword immortal come from? A. Lao Wang, keep your voice down. Don't let Haitian sect's people hear you. A. Duan Chinru, sitting in the carriage, felt a bit melancholy. Just then, the young rabbit carriage slowed down. Everyone inside tensed, fearing they had encountered Haitian sect's people. When the curtains were pulled back, they saw a handsome young man standing there. Duan Chinru was surprised to recognize the young man as the one who had been talking to her mother earlier that day. What was he doing so close to Haitian sect's headquarters? Could he be a disciple of Haitian sect? If so, she felt a surge of disgust, as she believed there were no good people in Haitian sect. Excuse me, the young man, Chi Yuan, said politely. Could you tell me which market nearby has a Lingtian pavilion? Relieved that he was merely asking for directions, everyone relaxed. They were just worried he might be from Haitian sect. Tianyan market has one, Duan Chinru answered. Thank you. Chi Yuan replied with a courteous bow, feeling thankful. He truly believed there were good people in the world. Why are you here at Haitian sect? Duan Chinru asked, curious. I came to watch the stars, Chi Yuan quickly improvised, not skilled at lying. Duan Chinru chuckled. I was being too forward. By the way, Haitian sect is very dangerous. If you don't have to, you should leave quickly. You are right, Ida's too dangerous here. I should run away, Chi Yuan said, sprinting off. Watching Chi Yuan's quick departure, everyone felt a bit puzzled. Do you know that boy? Lao Wang asked, noting Chi Yuan's unusual personality. No, Duan Chinru denied. Everyone accepted her response, thinking she was just a kind-hearted woman. The encounter was quickly forgotten as they approached Haitian sect's gate. Hey, why is the bone bridge broken? Someone noticed. To reach Haitian sect, one had to cross the bone bridge, which was now gone. Look over there. Someone pointed inside Haitian sect. Using their spells to look inside, they saw the destruction and corpses scattered everywhere. That's a core formation elder. Someone stammered. Haitian sect has been wiped out. Everyone was stunned. This was Haitian sect, known for its tyranny. To wipe them out required at least a nascent soul elder. Who would dare provoke Black Chicken Demon? All eyes turned to Lao Wang, who had earlier wished for a sword immortal to destroy Haitian sect. It was not me. I did not do it. Lao Wang protested. Duan Chinru, however, thought of the young man they had just encountered. Had he seen something? Everyone had their own thoughts, but they all knew that the kingdom of Dashang was about to plunge into chaos. Tianyan market. Chi Yuan walked briskly. After leaving Haitian sect, he realized he had not covered his tracks well. Although he had destroyed Yulinglonga's body to prevent Black Chicken Demon from using it to break through to the nascent soul or even Purple Mansion stage, he worried there might be other cultivators with the same special body type in Haitian sect. To avoid further complications, he decided to spread the information about Haitian sect's special body types. This way, when Black Chicken Demon came out of seclusion and found Haitian sect destroyed, he would only find chaos, with no bodies left to use. To achieve this, Chi Yuan aimed to spread the information through Lingtian Pavilion, a major distributor of various jade slips used for communication and information exchange across Dashang. Essentially, he planned to use their network to ensure every cultivator knew about Haitian sect's secrets. This would inevitably lead to countless cultivators risking their lives to claim the body types for themselves, leaving Black Chicken Demon with nothing but frustration and rage. As he thought of this plan, Chi Yuan quickened his pace towards Lingtian Pavilion, knowing it was the best way to ensure his safety and thoroughly disrupt Haitian sect's remnants. Enhance your reading experience by removing ads for as low as $1. Remove ads from $1. At Lingtian Pavilion, Bu Kisu, dressed in a simple Taoist robe, was holding an incense burner, with fragrant smoke curling up. There are three simplicities in cultivation: simple clothes, simple food, and simply a. Creak. The door was pushed open. Steward, Thuria's business. The servant, familiar with Bu Kisu, entered without knocking. Bu Kisu, with a gentle temperament, was not angry but looked toward the door where Chi Yuan stood. What can I do for you, esteemed guest? I want to use your Lingtian Pavilion to make an announcement. Here is the price list. Please take a look and choose the tier you prefer. Bu Kisu handed the price list to Chi Yuan. Chi Yuan glanced at the prices and smacked his lips. The prices were indeed high, starting at dozens of spirit stones. If he hadn't made a fortune at Haitian sect, he wouldn't even be able to afford an ad. AELL choose the 3,000 spirit stones tier, Chi Yuan decided after some hesitation. This tier would suffice for his needs. Once many people knew there was a purple bamboo body at Haitian sect, they would definitely flock there to scramble for the corpses. Most people couldn't recognize a purple bamboo body anyway. What information do you wish to publish? Hearing the amount, Bu Kisu took another look at Chi Yuan, trying to guess his identity. I want to announce that Haitian sect has a purple bamboo body. Chi Yuan lowered his voice. What? Bu Chijua's eyebrows twitched as countless thoughts flashed through his mind. He looked at Chi Yuan with a slight smile. Do you have a grudge against Haitian sect? Trying to make their disciples restless, I see. Chi Yuan nodded. This person was half right. He wanted Haitian sect's disciples to be uneasy even in death. Firstly, if there really was a purple bamboo body, it wouldn't fall into Black Chicken Demana's hands. Secondly, when Black Chicken Demon emerged from seclusion, he would find nothing at Haitian sect, making it impossible to find the culprit. Chi Yuan planned to drag everyone down with him. If it were any other pavilion, they might not dare to take this business for fear of offending Haitian sect. But Ling Tian Pavilion isn't afraid. I'll take the deal. Bu Kisu said confidently. Chi Yuan handed the spirit stones to Bu Kisu, feeling a pang of pain. These spirit stones hadn't even had a chance to warm his pocket. Fortunately, he had looted quite a bit. Leaving Ling Tian Pavilion, Chi Yuan secretly boarded a spirit boat and returned to Shenguang sect overnight. Back at Seven Colors Peak, he collapsed into bed, exhausted from the battle at Haitian sect. Meanwhile, two pieces of information swept through the cultivation world of Dashang, causing a sensation. The first was that Haitian sect had a purple bamboo body. The second was that Haitian sect had been exterminated. Some who didn't know the truth, upon learning the sequence of events, sensed a great terror. Someone powerful had discovered the purple bamboo body and wiped out Haitian sect. Opinions varied as some didn't believe it, thinking it was a rumor, some were delighted, some speculated about the mysterious powerful being daring enough to annihilate Haitian sect. Quick-witted individuals, meanwhile, disguised themselves and snuck into Haitian sect under cover of darkness. Within Haitian sect, bodies were strewn everywhere, and blood flowed continuously. A barefoot man in black clothes stealthily climbed into Haitian sect, his eyes gleaming with surprise as he surveyed the corpses. It seems I am the first here. My quick thinking and bravery paid off, he thought. Suddenly, a cold voice rang out, you, Nuodian monk, with your thick eyebrows, are also after the purple bamboo body. What, planning to refine it into your own puppet? The man in black was shocked, seeing three others in black. Who are you? How did you find me? A Nuodian monk, who else here always walks barefoot? A crisp female voice mocked, entwining her arm with one of the men in black, indicating they were partners. Just then, an angry voice shouted, I am the real Nuodian monk. Who are you, impersonating me? Another barefoot man in black appeared. The five men in black glanced at each other, not bothering to argue further. Haitian sect being wiped out and then news of a purple bamboo body. It seems the perpetrator has grand ambitions, the female voice said, her tone serious. To annihilate Haitian sect, it must have taken at least a nascent soul elder. Yet there is no sign of a nascent soul's power. Could it be a core formation cultivator? One of the men speculated. Probably not an ordinary core formation cultivator, another added. The wounds appear to be from a sword, not a saber. Could it be someone from the floating mountain? The man with the woman pondered. Immediately, the barefoot man retorted, not only the floating mountain uses swords. The other barefoot man angrily shouted, you from floating mountain, impersonating me. They pondered who might have destroyed Haitian sect. The woman then reminded them, finding out who destroyed Haitian sect is not our primary concern. Remember why we are here. Maybe someone is playing a trick on us, and there is no purple bamboo body here at all. The five spread their divine senses, scanning the area. A purple bamboo worm. The woman exclaimed, holding a worm. The others' expressions changed. Where there are purple bamboo worms, there must be a purple bamboo body nearby. It seems there is indeed a purple bamboo body here. Everyone's breathing quickened. The significance of a purple bamboo body, which could help a late-stage nascent soul cultivator reach the Purple Mansion realm, was not lost on them. They immediately began examining the corpses to find the purple bamboo body. Suddenly, a barefoot man stared at some dirt. The core formation true person Yu Linglong of Haishan sect is missing. He then shifted his gaze. Could it be that the purple bamboo body has already been taken by the one who destroyed the sect? What are we doing here then? Said an elder who had been silent, his voice raspy. At that moment, the second barefoot man grabbed the corpse of the Haishan sect's leader. Nuodian monk, how dare you? The others immediately joined in, causing the corpse to be torn apart. The poor leader of Haishan sect called Nati rest in peace even in death. This is Nati the purple bamboo body. Why fight over it? The barefoot man shouted. This may not be the purple bamboo body, but Ida's a blue bamboo body, slightly less valuable. Ground into powder, it can nurture a special herb that produces a blue infant fruit, enhancing nascent soul cultivation, the woman explained. Did Nati expect the leader to be Yu Linglong's father, or perhaps her grandfather? Fortunately, someone discovered this early. Otherwise, within 200 years, Black Chicken Demon would certainly have reached the Purple Mansion realm. The thought sent chills through them. Such an event would drastically change the power dynamics in Dashang. However, this fear was fleeting. After fighting over the sect letter's corpse, the nascent soul experts continued their search. Given the frequent appearance of purple and blue bamboo bodies, there might be other special bodies here. They could not let any corpses go. Thus began a fierce battle for the corpses within Haishan sect. Unaware of these events, Qi Yuan stretched lazily, feeling refreshed. Finally, I can relax and play games. Enhance your reading experience by removing ads for as low as $1. Remove ads from $1. The next day, Qi Yuan was still in a deep sleep. Suddenly, a clear voice rang out. Senior brother, when did you come back? Qi Yuan woke up abruptly from his dream. He quickly tidied himself up and walked out of his room, still looking sleepy. I came back last night, he said, looking at Zhongling Su, a junior sister. How did you know I came back? You didn't sneak a peek at me while I was sleeping, did you? Zhongling Su was exasperated. She wanted to say that she noticed the garbage pile in her courtyard had been rummaged through this morning. But thinking it might hurt her senior brother's self-esteem, she calmly said, senior brother, isn't your knife still tied in the courtyard? She glanced at the knife tied with a rope, looking like a pet. Qi Yuan looked at the knife with a doubtful expression. He had gained a lot from destroying Haishan sect. Of course, the biggest gain was emptying Haishan sect's library. As for other spirit stones and spiritual objects, he ran too quickly to take much. Even so, the spiritual objects he obtained were invaluable, and the knife had a great feast. After all, Qi Yuan only had the combat power of someone who had just established a foundation. He could kill a core formation cultivator entirely by relying on the power of the knife. It was like the investiture of the gods, having a powerful magical weapon to challenge someone of a higher level. Qi Yuan was the same. In the short term, even if he used up all the spirit stones, the improvement in his own power would be limited. What he lacked most were techniques and foundation establishment. He used most of the spirit stones and treasures to enhance the knife's strength. Now, the knife was even more terrifying. With it, Qi Yuan could confront a late-stage core formation cultivator whose Dao techniques were Raina-T deep. Having fed it so many spirit stones and spiritual objects, why is it still a? Qi Yuan wanted to cover his face. Could it be that just as dogs Kana-T stop eating poop, the knife Kana-T stop rummaging through trash? Or is the junior sister's garbage pile richer than mine? Seeing Qi Yuan stay silent, Zhongling Su continued to ask, senior brother, didn't you go to establish your foundation? Did you succeed? She seemed to be trying to discern something from Qi Yuan's expression. Hearing this, Qi Yuan immediately looked dejected. I failed. Sigh, a first-class foundation establishment spiritual object is too difficult to use. Zhongling Su sighed inwardly. The higher the grade of the spiritual object used to establish a foundation, the stronger the battle power post-establishment, and the higher the future breakthrough probability. However, for cultivators, it's not always better to use a higher-grade spiritual object. Without sufficient talent, forcibly using a high-grade spiritual object for foundation establishment can lead to failure. The Tao gives birth to 50, of which 49 evolve, and 1 remains hidden. Even using the lowest grade spiritual object for foundation establishment, there is still a chance to reach the peak. Most ordinary cultivators do not use high-grade spiritual objects. What is suitable for oneself is the best. An elder in Zhang Lingsu's family established his foundation with an 8th grade spiritual object, which was quite meager. Yet, this elder is among the top 3 in the family in terms of strength. A senior brother, don't force it. What suits you is the best. Wangwa fruit, though a 1st grade spiritual object, is just a well, Ida like that, A Zhang Lingsu comforted. Qi Yuan nodded in agreement. You are right, Wangwa fruit is not suitable for me, I want to establish a foundation with heavenly Tao. Zhang Lingsu, She herself had only established her foundation with a lower tier earth meridian spiritual object. As for heavenly Tao foundation establishment, she had never even seen such a genius. After all, only primordial spirits can capture the chi of heavenly meridian, and even then, Ida not guaranteed. One must reach the yin spirit realm to give birth to a primordial spirit and roam the realms, exploring the void. The primordial spirit here is quite different from the divine soul or divine consciousness that Zhang Lingsu knew. This senior brother really dares to dream. Without an ancestor Wo's and yin spirit or yang spirit expert, he still wants to establish a foundation with heavenly Tao. However, Zhang Lingsu glanced at the palace on 7 Colors Peak, pondering. A senior brother, this is a harmonizing pill. It can stabilize your mana. Since you just failed to establish your foundation, your mana is unstable. You need to take one so you can attempt another breakthrough shortly. Ida saw not expensive, just a few spirit stones, a family specialty. A Zhang Lingsu extended a delicate white porcelain bottle with a pill inside. Qi Yuan was stunned. A junior sister, you are like my Doraemon, always pulling out strange things from your sleeve. A Zhang Lingsu was puzzled by Qi Yuan's strange comment. Qi Yuan took the harmonizing pill. This is a harmonizing pill. When a cultivator fails to establish a foundation, their mana becomes chaotic. To accumulate for another attempt, they need to temper their mana. The harmonizing pill neutralizes and replenishes mana, equivalent to the mana from 10 top-grade spirit stones. However, it has some flaws that can be improved. Qi Yuan was taken aback. Equivalent to 10 top-grade spirit stones. That is 1,000 lower-grade spirit stones. This harmonizing pill is indeed worth just a few spirit stones, but those are top-grade spirit stones. Qi Yuan looked at Zhang Lingsu. A junior sister, I appreciate your kindness. If anyone tries to harm you, I'll take the blow for you. She's a real wealthy lady. Better hold on to this thick slender white leg. Zhang Lingsu chuckled lightly. A senior brother, take care of yourself. I don't want to see you get hurt. Zhang Lingsu seemed ordinary, with many strengths and weaknesses. Of course, she was not ordinary as she had a lot of money. Thinking of something, Zhang Lingsu's expression became serious. Ida's good you are back, senior brother. Yesterday, Haishan sect was wiped out, and the entire Dashang kingdom will be in turmoil. What? Haishan sect was exterminated. Qi Yuan's eyes widened. He felt his acting skills were excellent, worthy of an award. Who was the culprit? Did they use a knife or a sword? A senior brother, your focus is strange. Zhang Lingsu suddenly stared at him. Could Haishan sect's extermination be related to you? Qi Yuan's superb acting suddenly failed. No, it was not me. You are nervous. Could it really be you? Zhang Lingsu laughed but did not take it seriously. Senior brother's eccentric behavior and obsession with games seemed incurable. Unfortunately, in today's world, major breakthroughs no longer trigger lightning tribulations. Otherwise, seeing senior brother struck by lightning would be interesting. After chatting with senior brother, Zhang Lingsu returned to her room. A plain mirror appeared in her hand. A peak chi refinement asai. This mirror, called Kun Qian mirror, was one of the many fragments of the heaven and earth mirror, capable of revealing Onia's cultivation level. It showed that Qi Yuan was at the peak of chi refinement. You darn knife, why do you rummage through the trash again? Qi Yuan wanted to slap the knife but was afraid of hurting himself. Today, I must go out and explore, see the aftermath of Haishan secta's extermination. People who often kill know not to return to the scene, but watching the murder case from a distance should be fine, right? Anyway, there are no police here, and Black Chicken Demon is still in seclusion. Enhance your reading experience by removing ads for as low as $1. Remove ads from $1. Returning from the foot of the peak, Qi Yuan breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, no one suspects it was me. Lingtian Pavilion is really impressive. A powerful figure leveled the entire Black Mountain sect last night. I wonder which nascent soul elder took action. Did anyone from our Xingguang sect go? Sure enough, most people are focused on the purple bamboo physique now. Even if old monster Black Chicken comes out, he probably won't be able to find the culprit. Qi Yuan muttered to himself. As night fell, Qi Yuan once again entered the game world. The first thing he did was chat with his online friend Jin Li. Currently, in the southern Qian kingdom, Ant Qin displayed emperor-level strength on the day of the duel, defeating the national teacher of the Nanfeng kingdom. The prime minister of the southern Qian kingdom, Sima Ting, looked extremely displeased. Jin Li's short-term task was completed. However, the crisis had not yet been resolved. Have never been a qualified emperor. Once the turmoil in the southern Qian settles, I will leave the southern Qian. What do you think? Through Linglong Yushi, Jin Li sent these words to Qi Yuan. She tightly clutched Yushi, feeling a bit uneasy. This time, Qi Yuan's message took a dozen breaths to come through. Jin Li quickly read it. What's the fun in being an emperor? Once the task is done, just leave. Why not join me in hunting monsters? It's much more fun. Seeing the last sentence, a smile curled up at Jin Li's lips. Okay, with you, The unqualified empress had another sleepless night, tossing and turning. Meanwhile, the instigator, Qi Yuan, was holding his great sword and began his hunting spree. However, upon stepping into the depths of the forbidden clothes, Qi Yuan squinted his eyes. Somethinga's off. He noticed that today's forbidden clothes was somewhat different from usual. On a crooked tree, most of the branches were broken, exposing thorny fractures, with a piece of grey pants hanging on it. This isn't a tea, caused by me. Is there someone else? The monsters he killed would always turn to ashes, becoming his experience points. There would definitely not be such a scenario where things were shattered. His gaze grew solemn, becoming more cautious. After all, in this world, there were treacherous ministers like Sima Ting, so there must be other human NPCs. There might be such NPCs within the forbidden clothes. Qi Yuan was extremely cautious, observing for a while. But he only found a few broken clothing monsters. The other clothing monsters were the same as usual. Qi Yuan hesitated. Should I continue hunting? If he didn't figure out the situation, he would feel uneasy. Unfortunately, he sneaked around all night but couldn't find anything unusual. The clothing monsters in the forbidden clothes were all the same as before, hanging silently on the trees like ghosts. Am I scaring myself? Qi Yuan retreated from the depths of the forbidden clothes, deciding to dig a hole. After all, whenever he was scared, hiding under the covers would dissipate his fear. According to the first principle of ghosts, they cannot harm people hiding under the covers. Qi Yuan decided to hide in a pit. The small space inside the pit, with no ventilation on all sides, felt like some special spots in chicken games, providing a false sense of security. The cool moonlight shone on the trees, and not far away, a half-green robe hung, its torn clothing seemed ripped by animal claws, fluttering in the wind. Qi Yuan quickly dug a pit with his great sword. He immediately crawled into the pit. Seeing the soil all around with no other space, Qi Yuan felt greatly relieved. It does feel much better, just need to block the entrance. He stood up, intending to block the entrance and bury himself underground. But when he raised his head, he met a pair of deep, hollow eyes. At the mouth of the pit, there was a head silently staring at Qi Yuan. This head seemed to wear a mask, half black and half white. The white part looked like a cold corpse with 3 layers of powder applied by a novice mortician, trying to restore the deceased's facial expression but still felt eerie. You have no martial ethics. Qi Yuan was startled. Anyone about to sleep, suddenly raising their head to see a pair of eyes staring silently at them, would react the same way as Qi Yuan. Dominant power. Seeing this creature, Qi Yuan's first reaction was to use his dominant power. Instantly, Qi Yuan's strength skyrocketed crazily. Twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Dominant power, truly dominant power. He wielded his great sword and charged at the unknown creature. Kill. With a slash of the great sword. Underneath the mask, Qi Yuan saw a hint of red. The unknown creature still stared at Qi Yuan. Its eyes revealed a trace of eeriness. A wisp of red gas, light chemical gas from a gas cylinder, surged towards Qi Yuan. Only then did Qi Yuan see the full appearance of the unknown creature. A black and white mask face, clothes entwined with white and red strips of cloth, and a human arm in one sleeve, but the palm had long, ink-black nails. A fallen Forbidden Zone Lord, Ugly Clothes Monster King, level 95, A big boss. Ah, Qi Yuan thrust his great sword. With the dominant power boost, this slash should be enough to wound a level 90 monster. But this slash only made the unknown creature take half a step back. Meanwhile, the red gas merged into Qi Yuan's body. Instantly, Qi Yuan felt his body stiffen. The red gas seemed to turn into red threads, binding his internal organs, trying to turn him into a puppet. Too tough, run. Level 95, he was only level 88, with a 7-level difference, including a major level difference. Gotta run. However, knowing it was the Lord of the Fallen Forbidden Zone, Qi Yuan felt somewhat relieved. NPC, he could see its health bar, he could kill it. But now, he had to run. Qi Yuan ran quickly, using his dominant power to the extreme. The Ugly Clothes Monster King just followed from a distance, seemingly not in a hurry to catch Qi Yuan. Not sure how long he ran, Qi Yuan felt exhausted and empty. He also noticed the Ugly Clothes Monster King had stopped chasing. He breathed a sigh of relief. After running a few more miles. No, I need to dig a hole and sleep, am totally spent, He quickly picked up his great sword to dig a pit. But he was stunned. Is this a graveyard? A burial mound. Doesn't matter, if I don't dig now, I'll be forced to log out. Dear grandpas, please lend me your precious land, we'll just be neighbors for one night, In the burial mound, a thin mist lingered. Dilapidated tombstones toppled over, and a grave was covered in lush wormwood. Underneath, there was a hole with centipedes with many tiny legs crawling inside. Qi Yuan found a spot away from the graves and dug a big pit. Qi Yuan was relieved he didn't dig into any neighbor's home. He quickly buried the pit, lying comfortably inside. But as he closed his eyes, he felt he touched something slippery. Could it be I touched that old man's skull? With such thoughts, Qi Yuan logged out. On the 7-colored peak, he cold hold on and fell into a deep sleep. Half an hour later, in the forbidden clothes, in the burial mound. Firecrackers and the sound of gongs resounded. It seemed like a funeral, yet also like a wedding. A group of clothing monsters came from the mist in droves, dancing and igniting their own clothes. The burial mound was brightly lit, with clothing monsters raving. Enhance your reading experience by removing ads for as low as $1. Remove ads from $1.